caught up in this fast life. Every morning night I pray, gotta make it out some way. Put a smile back on my mama's face. Yeah, I'm caught up in this fast life. Every morning night I pray, gotta make it out some way. Put a smile back on my mama's face. Yeah.
This is Ghetto Report Podcast. This is episode 2. That's Ro. I'm Lean. We got a special guest. You know, he does a lot of charity work in the community. You know, Ro speaks very, very highly of him.
Definitely.
And, right.
Publicly, behind his back, all that.
Professional NFL player. He's from New York. Without further ado, Devin McCourty.
What's up, y'all? Appreciate it. Appreciate y'all having me on today.
I'm glad you're here.
Definitely, man.
I'm glad you're here. I wanted to interview you too because Ro brought it to my attention, but I started looking things up that you did. Like, you do a lot of charity work and stuff like that. But we're gonna get into that. I want to start from like the beginning. Where you from? Tell the people where you from.
Yeah, I'm from Rockland County, town called Nyack, New York. It's probably about 35 minutes outside Manhattan.
Okay.
Yeah.
How you pronounce that? Say that again.
Nyack.
Nyack. Okay, Nyack. New
What,
York.
you thought it was like New York or
Nah,
something?
I didn't know. I wanted to make sure. You know what I'm saying?
I was reading it. How do you know?
I was like, yo, what is that Nyack? Because I looked it up too. Mm-hmm. So, but you know, sometimes when you look online, it ain't the same in actual.
It's not always accurate.
Yeah. So I'm like, I gotta ask him versus me assuming. So, how was that town? How was it? Like,
Yeah, so we grew up in this place called Nyack Plaza Apartments. It was Section 8 living. So my mom had my oldest brother like fresh out of high school, like 19 years old. So my older brother is like 15 years older than me and my twin brother. So growing up there, my pops passed away when we were young. He had an asthma attack that led to a heart attack, 34 years old. So
Sorry to hear that.
Appreciate it. So, you know, to me, growing up there was awesome because Section 8 living, you have to have kids that live there. So there was never a time that we didn't go outside and, like, playing basketball, football, like, riding bikes. Like, we were always doing something. So I loved it being there. And, you know, we moved eventually when I was, like, 12 years old. We moved to Spring Valley, New York, when we moved to a trailer park. And it was funny because, like, I tell people that it's like, bro, you moved to a trailer park, and like for us it was cool because like in an apartment you don't own that. When we move, we own the trailer, and it's not like on wheels and you can move at any time. Like
I know what you're talking about.
But like for us, like it was brand new and it was like a step up. So it was like probably one of the first moments I seen like my mom was like proud, like buying something like that. So it was a cool childhood for me.
Yeah.
That's dope though, because I actually want a tiny house or what are they? They're not trailer houses, but they're the box houses.
What? There's tiny homes.
Not just tiny homes. They have container homes now.
Oh,
too.
container homes. Homes. You always say about the container homes.
They're cheap. They're $20,000.
Yeah. So you gonna buy one?
Like he said, we're
So
gonna
you gonna
own
buy
it.
one?
Yeah. Am I gonna buy one and own it? Or
okay, where you gonna put it? In
my
Boston?
mama, shoot.
Oh, because it ain't going in Boston. You're gonna have to buy that land. $1 million.
Sold. My mama's. We good.
Yeah, well,
She worked hard.
but she lives in
Concord.
Yeah.
It's time to leave the city.
You're not leaving the city.
I'm trying to go to Foxborough.
For who?
I'm trying to take over
She's
his
trying to
house.
house sit.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? So they're
okay.
gonna move to Jersey. Then
Hey,
I'm
don't
gonna
be
stay.
putting
there.
that man's address out there like that.
They don't know where in Foxborough.
Yeah, Gillette Stadium.
This is me. It could be Walpole and also Foxborough.
Right.
But
When did you get into football? You and your brother get into football. Did your older brother play? Or
Yeah, so my older brother's a psycho, man. Like when he graduated high school, he said my mom was like, hey, you either get a job, go to college, or you go to the Army. And this dude chose the Army. So he went to the Army for 4.5 years, was in the tanks, ran the tanks. And then when he got home, I was probably about 10 years old. So no, I was about 7 or 8. So when we turned 10, he was like, yo, you got to play football. Like, we got to get y'all into football. Like, me and my brother, all we wanted to do was play basketball. And he signed us up for football. We had to go on the waiting list, so we didn't play until the next year. But he was like that older brother that no matter what, if it was a basketball tournament, football, he was always on the corner on the block telling everybody, hey, those my brothers, they the best. They the best in Nyack, they the best in the county. Like, always starting stuff, bragging about us.
So were y'all the best?
Yeah, we were the best.
Okay.
So
y'all
was
play
he
both
like?
sports?
We played basketball and football.
Okay.
Was he like the brother that if you was rapping, even if you suck, he's still gonna say you nice.
He would have,
and
yeah.
push you.
Like my brother, true story. My rookie year, they come up for the game, playoff game. We play the Jets, and my twin brother's there. My older brother goes, "Man, tonight, man, I trust Dev more than I trust Brady." And my twin brother looks at him. He's like, "Man, you done lost your damn mind, man. What you talking?" But that's him.
Did you get an interception that game?
I didn't.
No.
I didn't.
You got some penalties your rookie year, huh?
Not much my rookie year. My second year. My second year was a struggle.
Okay.
But yeah, I know y'all was out there in the
I'm
city
like,
saying,
turn
"Get rid of him."
around. No, I was just saying, turn around.
They didn't have said
But,
get rid of him.
didn't- No, your rookie year, what you got? Like 6 interceptions? What?
Yeah, I had 7 interceptions.
Seven, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
No,
was
you did
hating
your
on
thing.
you?
I said, yo,
My
he's
rookie
nice.
year, they banged with me. My second year, though,
My city's tough.
my Twitter was real.
Yeah.
I hope you tear your ACL, break your
Oh,
leg. Oh,
don't
they
what?
was
Nah,
they was
they
crushing
said-
me on my Twitter.
You gotta send me to those.
Don't,
I got you.
don't listen to them, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They drive you crazy. During the
that's all
season, you
My
gotta get off
city's
social
tough.
media.
Like our fans are tough. You know, city of champions.
Yeah, they love you, and they tell you when it's not good.
Yeah.
Question. When's your birthday?
August 13th.
You know what's crazy about that? That's my birthday.
For real?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I know like 5 or 6 people with the same birthday.
Yeah. I'm a Leo.
Yep.
You know,
So now y'all gotta remember
best thing you
each
could
other.
be.
right. The best thing you can be.
Leo.
And what's so crazy
know
about that?
nothing
My
about zodiacs.
grandfather, my mom's dad, that was his birthday.
For real?
Yeah, I was born on his birthday. He passed away though in 1990.
Sorry to hear that.
1990. He had an aneurysm. Passed away. That was like the first death that really like hurt me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because we had the same birthday, but I never seen him on, my birthday, his birthday, whatever, because he always like left town. But he was born in Canada, so he went back to Canada. Yeah, like he used to go to Canada and stuff.
A lot of great people born on August 13th.
Yeah, August 13th.
Y'all gotta
man.
celebrate.
So I knew you was special when I read that last night. I was like, oh, shit. I'm like, August 13th, this is crazy.
You have to
I said,
celebrate
yo, This
birthdays.
is why. And then she was like, she's telling me you're so humble. And I'm like, this is why. He's born on August 13th. And I
It
hit
all
her up
makes
like,
sense
yo,
now.
It makes sense.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I'm
Very humble.
right. So who was better in football? You or your brother? Or who was better in basketball and football? Who was better? Who was the best?
I'm telling you, if he was sitting right here, he'd say me, and I'm always gonna say me. But our football journey, was super unique because when we got to high school, we both played freshman football. We didn't play a lot. Like when me and my brother went to high school, we was like 5'8", 120 pounds, super small. Like no one, like when we went to high school, no one was like, man, those guys will be in the NFL someday. So when we were freshmen, we played defense. Then our sophomore year, I started 3 games. I played first. Jay didn't play at all. Then our junior year,
Is that for Rutgers?
this was in high school.
Oh, high school, you
Then
said,
our
yeah.
junior year, he started playing running back, and then our senior year, our senior year, he killed it. Like he had games where he got the ball 3 times, scored 3 times, 130 yards rushing. So to go to Rutgers, they offered him in like October of our senior year. Never offered me. So the season ends, he got an offer from Rutgers and Boston College. I still remember Tom O'Brien was at BC, and he came to our house. They did an in-home visit, and he was like, yeah, you don't have to, you could go in the room. We're only offering your brother. I hated BC growing up.
He said that to you?
BC would not offer me.
BC,
Wouldn't even let me
I
sit.
did not say this. I do not endorse
Wouldn't
this.
even let me sit in on the meeting.
Nah, man, fuck BC.
So Rutgers, Rutgers only really offered me. The head coach had twin boys, and he knew the bond between twins, so he wanted Jay.
Right.
So really offered me to try to get Jay to go there, and that's where we ultimately ended up going. So high school, I played first and was better than him. Then the end of high school, he played. He was better than me. Beginning of college, he played. I didn't play. Then he leaves college, goes in the 6th round. I leave college and go in the 1st round. Yeah. So like we used to go back and forth on
Y'all
like.
left not the same year?
Nah, because my first year I didn't play at all. So I
So y'all both went to
redshirted?
Rutgers?
Yeah, yeah.
And not BC?
Nah.
So guess who just got accepted to BC?
You should go. I bangs with BC
Me.
now. I bangs with BC.
Hey, nah,
did
man.
for
I
real.
talked to the team.
Yup,
Congrats.
for real.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Where's BC at, though?
Not that
I
hand.
don't
You
even
can
know.
do the other hand because
What
I
part
want
of
you saying I
What
heard
part of
you.
Boston is BC at? That's like Brookline.
Chestnut
or
Hill.
something. Okay, man. Yeah, whatever. That ain't
Brookline,
the hood.
Chestnut Hill.
That's Chestnut Hill. That's the Bob Kraft area of Boston.
Yeah, that ain't the.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
That's
still
not
good.
our Boston.
Listen, that's not the Bobby Brown Boston. We
Yeah,
don't know
I had
that.
to tell
You know what I'm
Devin
saying?
that.
Yeah.
Like they was bringing them to like the Matt Damon Boston. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Ben Affleck Boston. I had to bring them to the Bobby
They're not
Brown
from Boston either.
Yeah.
Let's get
that
this
too.
straight. A lot of people.
Marky Mark.
No, I'm tired of these people. They be going on these places and they be representing our city, and they not from there. Like Ben Affleck's from Cape Cod or something like
Cambridge.
that. No, he's from Cape Cod. Then he moved to Cambridge,
Oh, well.
which is closer.
Richard,
we got
Richard.
some homies in Cambridge, Millie.
But he didn't move from that part of Cambridge.
Yeah, he wasn't on that side. But they go on these shows and they're representing us, but they not from the city. So I'm like, yo, so people have, this thing about us they don't know. They got a
fully
misconception, and you know what I'm saying, of our city. And it's like, yo, man, you ain't really from there. Now, Marky Mark is from Boston. You know, he could say that. You know what I mean?
And they good people.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I got cool with Donnie.
Don't do that.
Wahlberg.
Don't do that. They're good people. You know what I'm saying?
We're not gonna lie, Marky Mark.
Okay.
is
I don't
not
know
good
Mark
people.
that well, but Donnie, every time like he be in, like he pulled up to Jalen Brown's event a couple years ago. I was at. Seemed like good people.
Yeah.
I think they give back a lot now, but let me correct
But you
myself.
gotta
They do
learn.
give exactly, but. And I wouldn't say
It's a
that
different era.
Marky is the one who got caught. So it would, some things happen in the past. But yeah, you can change and grow.
can change.
And I'm
We forgive you,
with
Mark.
that. So I don't know, not there yet. I want to see a public
Yo,
apology.
she holds grudges forever.
You damn right. How we fighting for our lives in racism, but then letting him slide because it's Marky Mark? No pass. Apologize, and we can move forward.
Yo, listen. We'll talk about that in private. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But New Kids on the Block, yeah, they from Boston. New Edition, most of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, except for Johnny Gill. All of them, except for Johnny Gill's from Boston. Yeah. So
They all the Boston people though, they go hard for the Patriots. Like I met Michael Bivens one time at the game, like just like true like Boston to the core. That's what I love about this area. Like in New York, sports is cool, but it's like one of the many things.
Okay, I'm gonna tell this story. We won the first championship. We won. The city was going crazy. So I had my ex-girlfriend's car at the time. She was my girlfriend at the time, but she's ex-girlfriend now. But this is 20-something years ago, whatever, 20 years ago. So I had a car and we was going crazy, beeping. Hey, I blew her horn. Her horn didn't work.
Is that when they had Lawyer Malloy?
So I ended up having to get the
like
horn.
that team.
I ended up having to get the horn fixed because we was going so crazy on the
hype.
horn.
Yeah.
Like we was on Mass
That's when they had the
Ave.
first parade,
We was
right? Yep.
we was going crazy. Like we just won. Everybody linked up. It was amazing. I'm like, it was unexpected. You know what I'm saying? Like during that year, before the season started, you didn't think we was gonna win the championship. Then we won. I'm gonna be honest. I knew we had to get rid of Drew Bledsoe. He held the ball too long. I'm like, he has to go. And I really didn't like Drew Bledsoe. Sorry, Drew. You did your thing in the AFC Championship game. You held us down, but Tom Brady.
That's it for you.
Know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's it for you. See you later.
See how
You know what I'm
quick
saying?
Boston fans do you?
No, we gotta be honest. We gotta be honest with our personnel. So if you ain't honest,
This is why when they say, "Do you want the fame or the money?" Give me the money,
All day.
because
Yeah,
the fame
I'll
is
take
like
the money.
that's too much.
That's
You
why-
gotta satisfy everybody.
Fame leaves you.
Yeah,
fame
see?
leaves you. The money don't unless you spend it wrong.
Yeah.
When you little old me, you could just be like, "Man, I don't care, whatever." When you famous, people talk about you every day. Like, how do you deal with that?
Well, I would say for me too though, like I don't. Maybe people do, but in my mind, I never think people talk about me every day. Like I think if they do, it's like
No, but you see it.
it's a small number of people. Like at the end of this season, like I love it too because social media allows you to be whoever you want to be for people.
Right.
So like people will straight tweet me like, "Man, you're old. You need to retire."
Hell no.
And like I just think it's funny because I'm like, social media gives you this outlet, but I'm not gonna give you the pleasure of responding to you.
Yeah.
So to me, I always see it as, man, there's always gonna be people that talk about you, but there's
Right.
always gonna be people that are super authentic that get to know me. Like here, like
Right.
you don't care. Like if I went out there and I gave up 5 touchdowns, y'all gonna be talking.
I don't know
like,
nothing about
y'all
that,
gonna be
so
like,
I don't even.
damn, he blew that. Like that was sorry.
Who,
But like
not
if
me.
you see me though, it's not gonna be about football. It's gonna be about, hey man, how you doing? How's the kids? How the fam? You know what I mean?
You told me you did all that. I'd be like, it'd be like Charlie Brown. Womp, womp, womp. I don't know what you talking about.
Right.
So
How did you choose? So y'all went to college for football. They didn't, not for basketball.
Nah, yeah.
So y'all wasn't good enough.
I wasn't that good.
Okay,
Nah,
okay.
I could have went like.
What did you
I could have
start?
went D2, D3 in basketball.
Okay. So you was like,
no. We had one kid on our team that was 6'9". He went to Rutgers to play basketball, and then it was me and my brother.
So it was an easy choice for you to stick with
Well,
the
my
football.
mom told me, like, so we went to private high school. Okay. So I told my mom when we went there, I was like, yo, you pay for this? Like, I promise you we'll get a scholarship. Right. So once, D2, D3 basketball, like, they give you some money, but you got to pay for school. Right. Football, we had full scholarships.
No-brainer.
Like, so it was, football it is.
So your mom, as a single mother, paid for both of you to go to private school?
Yeah, so we got financial aid, but my mom used, some of the money from my dad's Social Security, and then my grandparents gave money. So we almost had to leave the school my junior year just because, money was low, and I didn't know what happened. My mom told me it was a chance, and then one day my mom was like, oh, no, we're good.
Shout out to moms, man.
Yep.
There's a meme. It said, no one makes it happen like a single mother.
Yep. My mom, when my sophomore year in college, my mom called us one day and was like, yeah, I'm going to have to file bankruptcy. And it was all because she put everything into us going to high school. And, like, we didn't really understand. And, like we were talking about off air, just like parents do whatever they got to do so you don't see some of the struggles that you're going through.
I respect all mothers, but single moms,
it's a different, especially once you have kids.
Yeah.
You be like, do this by myself?
Right.
Hell no.
Because when I gotta watch the kids on, for a few days on it, I'm like, especially when they're young.
Yep.
You're like, man, you know what I'm saying?
I always
But
tell everybody,
single moms,
shout out to all y'all mothers, but my mom's the GOAT. And I mean, y'all should feel like that about yours, but my mother's ill.
Like,
she's dope.
That's what I said. I'm like, my mom did everything she could for us, so
And more.
I'm gonna do everything I can for her.
And it's crazy, and she still does for us.
Right.
Like, there's nothing that she's not
Moms
doing.
don't stop.
Your mom to the day you go. Once you become a mom, hopefully, you know what I'm saying.
All right, with that, we gotta come to it. And with that, we gotta start doing like the mother folks at 21.
Oh man, you know what?
Cut 'em off.
But do they really cut them off?
Nah,
No,
they do.
because
No,
yo,
they
I think they support them. No,
I think it
we do in
depends.
the hood. 18, you're getting out.
Yeah.
And it's
Nah.
like, that's wrong. I think that's wrong because, they always come back when you kick them out at 18.
Right.
I think
Ain't nowhere to go.
Other communities, they let their kids stay until they save up when they're in the right position, or you know what I'm saying. But their priority in the right position.
I don't know
anyways,
what
but
my mama
until-
doing wrong, because they 30-something still there.
But she doing something wrong.
I'd be
But
like,
most of the people,
She making it too comfortable.
most of the
Right.
people say
Right.
18.
Not for me.
In the black community, they 18, you gotta go. They be like, you gotta go. I'm like, I'm never doing that to mine. Like,
Me neither.
You gotta get this right. You know what I'm saying? Stay here as long as you need to, because
We're
when
gonna
you
grind
leave,
together.
I don't want you.
I don't want you to come back.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want you to
Right,
come
you
back.
get all
when you
comfortable,
leave.
they gone, then you come
I have
back
some
and ruin
privacy.
the
I can't walk around naked no more. Like,
You hope they go to college and find their next job. Hey,
Right.
stay in that college city you in, get a job.
Are you sure you don't want to get your master's?
That's all y'all know. Y'all got wives in the house. Not me. I want mine to come back. I'm bored.
Was there ever a time when you was younger that you was messing up and got in trouble and stuff like that, or no, you was just on a straight path?
Like for
but there
me,
was somebody looking out for you, like, no, don't go this route, like maybe older people around or something like that.
for me, the biggest thing, like I tell people all the time, man, like I didn't have, like I know people, like the common saying, especially with single moms, is like they need some type of male figure there to help.
I don't believe that, but
And so, like for me, not delving too much into details, but like every male figure that I had in my life, I kind of grew up saying I didn't want to do the things that they did. So like I always kind of looked at things as going the opposite of what I saw. So you know what I mean? And it's no like knock on them. I think, as you get older, you understand everybody has their own struggles and like what they go through and how it affects them. But for me, like having a twin brother, I think saved both of us, because anytime like we was close to doing something that the other one was like, man, you tripping. Nah, like we're not doing that. So for the most part, like stayed on the straight and narrow, like with school. Like we were talking about before we jumped on, my mom got hurt on her job when I was 5 years old. She got in a car accident. My mom was a nurse at Rockland Psychiatric Ward, and the coworker that was driving didn't have a license, so she couldn't. So she's driving, you know, she gets in a car accident. My mom ends up having 12 knee surgeries, can't work again. So collecting disability, my mom was always at the house. So her number one priority became her boy. So whenever you messed up, like, for instance, quick story, in 8th grade, you know what I mean, I was at the age where you want to wear the do-rag to school, like, so my mom used to be like, I don't want you wearing that do-rag when you get out of this house. And
What was that, Dipset era?
Yep. And I used to be like, yeah. So I put the do-rag in my pocket.
The baggy jabos.
Walk to the bus,
5XYT.
get to the bus stop,
And
throw the
break it
do-rag on. Good.
Oh,
So one day, Jay was finishing a project, so my mom dropped him off at school. So as she's dropping him off, I'm getting off the bus. So I got the do-rag on, getting off the bus. So this is what I say, though. My brothers, we all have always had each other's back. My older brother, as soon as I walk in the house, he's like, yo. And my older brother sounded like DMX. And he was like, yo, she saw you with the do-rag on. Bro, don't lie. Just take it.
Yeah.
Saved me. And my mom set it up. She's like, hey, you wore that do-rag to school today, didn't you? And I was like, yeah, you know, I made it. And like, because she was just always there, like, and I think that's how God works sometimes. Like you might think like, all right, I could get away with this. Yeah. And like my mom just happened that day that I did it to see it, right. To be like, all right, man, like don't do that again. Like it's gonna get ugly.
Right.
But was your mom like a Claire Hustable or who else would we add?
My mom, I know
Medea.
exactly what you mean. My mom had that look to her that you would think that.
She gave you that look.
And like, my mom, like one day she was on the phone, my brother dribbling the basketball in the house, and she talking calmly, and she just swing at him. He just happened to dodge. She knocked
like
my older brother out.
My mom,
Tyson. My mom always told us, she
look.
was like, as a mom, if you don't get in your boy's face before they get too big, she's like, there's nothing you can do. So my mom constantly struck fear in us from kids all the way up until she was like, now you got to be your own man.
But also like, as a woman and like meeting you guys and like the way you guys, you know, present yourself, your mannerisms and things like that, like you can see like the respect and the morals that she instilled in you and that you carry with you. Like from the way that, you know, like I see you and random people you don't even know, you holding the door for the woman, you know what I mean, and things like that. And it's like you stop and see. You know what I mean? Like, I watch certain things. It's like you stop and see who's behind you. Like, you don't think you're bigger than, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're like the average person.
And I tell people that because, like, most of my life, like, that's what I was. That's what I believe that's what I am. But I think, you know, any type of success on a football field, I think people see me differently. But, like, I've never seen even here, like, I was a first-round draft pick, and, like, that's a big deal. But, like, for me, like I told y'all, the only reason I got to college was because my brother. So, like, when I got to college and, like, they sat us in the room and you sat in the order of where you were, I was a 7th string safety, like 7th string. Like, they gave me number 39. Like, I was a bum. So, like, I always keep that mentality. Like, it just can't leave.
Was you carrying the rookie bag?
I wasn't even going on trips.
I
was at the crib.
He wasn't even suiting up.
Yeah, exactly.
He wasn't suiting up. So, you was 7th string.
When I first got to school. Yep.
Safety though, but you was a safety in college.
So
put you a cornerback.
So I was a safety when I got there. For one, I didn't want to go to college and play safety. I played safety in high school, but like I said, I was 155 pounds. Like, I don't want to go to college play safety. 155 pounds. Yeah, like I'm too small. Yeah. So my sophomore year, I'm looking at the depth. I'm like, we had these two safeties that both end up getting shots in the NFL. I was like, well, I ain't gonna play over them. I was like, damn, but some corners are leaving. You know what? I'm gonna switch myself in the spring. And I just moved the corner. And when the coaches came back, like I was doing good. So they left me there. And, you know, my redshirt sophomore year, I ended up starting opposite my brother for 2 years in college, which was kind of the best 2 years of college for us.
That's crazy. So, in college, you're a twin.
We had a good time. We had a good time in college, man.
I bet.
You know where I'm going with this. Did you and your brother ever switch roles? Did
Like
we
without
had,
people
play like
knowing?
him? and he
we
play-
had as two married men. I tell you, we had good fun in college.
All right.
Early in college, my brother got a girlfriend our sophomore year in college that he's married to now.
Dope.
So
Okay.
he's
good.
he's the more calm,
Level-headed.
He's like a lot of people say like he's the good twin.
Okay.
Mama wasn't
And you're the
having
older
it, huh?
one, right? You're
Y'all
the
wasn't
older one.
bringing
27 minutes
27
older.
minutes. Yeah, I read that. It's 27 minutes. So you felt like you was the big brother to him, and that's your little brother.
I always do that to him, and he was like, "Bro, you're not
You're
older
not
than
that
me.
Yo, you
Like,
the youngest.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like, how is it like with twins? Like, how do you identify which is which? Is it like being a parent, you just know?
My mom just knows. But like it's funny too, because like when you're a twin, a certain aspect, people think like you're almost like a science experiment. So like when people first meet us, like if me and him side by side, they be like,
Yeah, trying to figure
fine.
out.
So like there's plenty of times that we just be standing there and people like examining us. And then
That's
as we got older, we be like, hey bro, you good? Like you know what I mean? Like we not a science experiment. But for us, I mean it was the best. Like our wives still like to this day like if we together, it's gonna be me and him versus them two. Like it's just so natural for us to kind of stick together,
know
gang
they're
up on
annoyed.
other people. Oh, they be so
They're
through.
annoyed.
So through. But like for us, like no matter what, our whole lives, like, especially because we did the same thing. So we was just talking about my second year in the NFL. Like when I was struggling, like I couldn't, like I talked to my mom about it. I could talk, but like the person that like helped me the most was my brother, because he knew what I was going through. Like he knows the
What
game.
team was he on?
He was on the Titans.
Tennessee.
The mom used to wear the split jersey.
Yeah.
That was dope.
So like our bond has always been unique because we're super competitive against each other, but just with each other. Like it's like if we were doing something and y'all came in there and was like, yo, I want to see y'all go head to head, we'd be like, nah, we good.
Right.
But like between us, like we'll go head to head, we'll go at each other
Privately.
but not for the entertainment. Not for my mom. And that was my mom. Like if we ever fought, my mom would come in there. She'd be like, I'm telling y'all right now, you do any fight, I'm ending the fighting. Yeah, so like it made us always kind of stick together and not have that like rivalry that you see sometimes.
Did you ever cover for him in classes or anything like that?
Yeah, we switched seats in class one time. So like when in school, they put us in the same classes to avoid us being able to switch classes.
Because I would have had you in all my math classes.
So it was funny though. But like school, the one time we did it, one of our friends was like, "Yeah, they switched seats. They tricked you. They tricked you, teacher." So
Who was that classmate? Say his name.
That is not your friend.
This was 7th grade.
Oh, okay.
I don't
I
even
was just
remember.
saying,
Yeah,
I
this
was
was
No, he's
seventh.
still tattletaling.
Yeah, he told.
He know better.
He still told.
At that age, just like snitches get stitches. Like you ain't supposed to tell.
Yeah, especially now. You
Right,
ain't
he's a
even in
hater.
trouble. Why you
Yeah,
telling me?
yeah, like it was nothing.
He was hating. He didn't have a twin to switch. He was failing his test.
So your senior year, you balled out,
in college.
In
Yeah,
college?
yeah, I had a big year my senior year.
and you knew you was going to
He
the
was
league.
getting
And
that
it was
draft.
dope too, though, because like halfway through the season, I met with my head coach in college, and he was like, "Yeah, all of the scouts are like, they went through your film, but they're back going through your film because of how well Jay's playing in the NFL. Like he was a 6th-round draft pick, but he's starting on all the special teams. He started a couple games. Like the scouts are now coming back. Like, well, what did we miss with this guy? So like, it's crazy just how life works. Like his success in the NFL made people come back and watch more of my film. And really, him playing well kind of helped me become a first rounder. Like without him playing well, I don't think they're just like,
Because your senior year was better than his senior year.
yeah.
And so that's why.
And like-
they say, you see what he's doing.
I
he
had
got a
more
better-
odds.
yeah.
Exactly.
Look
like,
at that. Big
go-
little bro came back and helped big bro.
Going into the year,
So he
I had,
big bro'd you.
I had like a 3rd to 5th round grade coming into the season, whereas like for him coming into the season, he had like a 7th to undrafted.
And that's crazy because the Patriots drafted you.
Mm-hmm.
So for them to draft you first round, you know, Bill, I don't know, does he usually draft corners first round? Usually, does he take like a
You never know.
lineman
You never
or
know
something
with
like
him.
that?
Like
or
if you
offensive?
even my time here, like 1st round picks, we had Hightower, Chandler Jones, but N'Keal Harry's a receiver. He's been a 1st round pick. We drafted a lineman, Nate Solder. So like we drafted Sony, a running back. Like it varies.
N'Keal Harry.
Yeah, my guy Keel.
how
I
do
don't
I
know
say
none of
this?
these people.
He's a receiver.
Yeah, he's
I
young.
still don't
But
know
is
what
he
that is.
injured?
Nah, he got. What did he injure last year? He hurt something last year. He missed like a game or two.
Because who we could have got? Metcalf?
Oh, you talking about in that draft? That draft was stacked with players.
Brown?
Metcalf, AJ Brown, and Debo Samuel were all in that
I
draft.
said,
Let me
oh.
tell you who I know.
Hey, because one
Jonathan
of my friends,
Jones.
Yeah, Jay Jones.
I'm done.
one of my
It's a
friends,
wrap.
he be
Or
on.
Wise.
That's all they talk about now.
He be on the drafts. Like he knows these. He know the players from college. He's like
But
he
I-
watches it. I'm like, this
I will
draft,
say this
NFL
about-
draft is boring, man.
I will say this about the draft. Everybody talks about the picks you could have had when those players are nice, but they never talk about the guys that they wanted to draft that end up being bust. Like
Right.
everybody be like, man, I wanted Debo Samuel and we didn't take him, but they won't say that they wanted somebody else that's probably a bum now. You know what I mean?
You said Belichick, you can't tell what he's thinking, right?
Nah, it's
So
always, yeah.
it's always that blank face, even in the locker room.
Like,
You never see him happy.
yeah, so I'll tell people, like, what you see him doing press conferences is nothing like that. Like, when you watch him do
Nah,
a
I
press
believe
conference, you be like, it looked like he hate talking.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, we got an 8 a.m. meeting every day. This dude talks average 45 minutes every day in that
this
meeting.
talking because he's talking to y'all as coach, but like, does he joke? Does he?
I feel
play?
like he got dry jokes. Like
In that meeting, he does.
You gotta watch people like that.
In that meeting, he does, like, I'm not going to lie, when he's in front of the team, like, he's kind of funny. Like, there's
Yeah, I believe that.
the way he talks about things, the way he'll talk about people, you'd be
I
like, yo,
believe
Bill shot out. Like, you know what I mean?
Like you can invite him over to the house. He's a good time.
But what I will say is he's most comfortable talking about football.
Right.
So, like, if you start, like, man, just talking about, like, I don't know, I've been there 12 years. You don't have many just like, hey, how you doing, coach conversations with Bill. But, like, when he talks football, like, he can talk about any aspect of football, history. Like, he's dropped history gems on us. Like,
I feel like he's like a old school man, right?
He
Like
is.
he don't want to talk about nobody, don't ask him about nobody. So I feel like when that happens with the media, he shuts down.
yeah, like, you're not gonna get anything out of Bill. Like, you would have to torture him. I feel like to death to get him to say anything about what he's done.
Yeah.
I feel like even if he met you for 5 minutes and he found out something about you and somebody came in there and was like, hey, we're gonna kill you, he'd be like, hey man, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Right.
Like you said, he just seemed like that
Yo,
old school,
kid,
like,
yeah. Like,
he go
yeah,
by the
leave me
old book.
alone. I
Yeah.
just try to chill by my pool house, by my business, my type of guy.
was you happy when you got drafted by the Patriots?
Honestly, no.
No.
So,
Where you
like,
wanted to go?
I wasn't a Patriots fan growing up.
You was a
And
Giants fan?
It's okay.
My college coach, I was a Cowboys fan.
Oh,
My college coach,
You look like you would have been at the guy.
my college coach used to always come up here. He has a good relationship with Bill, and a lot of stuff we did in college I hated. And he would be like, "This is what the Patriots do," and I'd be like, "I know if I go to NFL, the one place I don't want to go is to the Patriots." And then call me on draft day. I'm not gonna lie, you don't care who calls. When they call, you like
Money.
So you knew you was going in the first round?
So that's the thing about the draft. I had a first round grade and a lot of projections said I was, but I went 27. There's only 32 picks. So the night took like 3-4 hours, and I still live like where I live, that trailer park. So ESPN was supposed to put a camera in the house for when you get drafted. That day, ESPN called and was like, hey, we can't come. We're not going to bring the camera. So I was like, oh, shit, they found out I'm not going in the first round. So didn't invite anybody to my house. My agents was there, my financial advisor, because he's my brother's financial advisor too. Like my aunt, like it was a few people there that was like close to me, a couple of friends from college. Next thing I know, people just start walking to my house, driving over. So like I look up, there's like 15, 20 people in the house. So now I'm sitting here like, man, all these people in here, I'm not even gonna get drafted. Like this, because
nerves.
like the draft, like you said, is boring. It take like that first round takes like 3-4 hours. So we just
couldn't
sitting
watch
there
it.
for like 2.5 hours, just like, oh, is he gonna get drafted? He's gonna get drafted, and then finally I get drafted. So, but that joint sucked for most of the night.
I get my notification on ESPN. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, who gets
got
drafted? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I know
Other
when
than
you
that-
got drafted, I know Mama McCourty was.
My mom cried when both of us. So like total opposite ends of the spectrum how we got drafted. I get drafted as first round. They showed a video of me. Jay gets drafted. They on commercial, and all they do is slide across the bottom. Tennessee selects Jason McCourty in the 6th round. And like both times, my mom stopped watching the draft. She couldn't watch it anymore. It's just too much nerves. But both times when both of us got drafted, she just started crying. I think just for her, you know what I mean, when your kids have a goal and a dream that,
Definitely.
you know what I mean, when everybody tells them, like, yo, that's not like where I'm from,
Right.
like it's not one of those towns where, like, you know what I mean, they just, like, you go to some cities down in Florida and Miami, they rolling NFL players through every year. Like I didn't come from that. So I just think for my mom, she just watched, you know what I mean, so many people tell us, like, yo, you need a plan B. Yo, this is not, you know what I mean, only less than 3% of people make it.
Right.
So I think for her to see us have a goal and a dream, like my mom knows, when I was in college, winter break, spring break and all that stuff, I stay at school. I come home for a week maybe, then I go back to school, keep working out. Like, so she saw the drive we had. And I think for her, it was just like, man, I think you put so much into your kids having a better life and future than you had.
Right.
And to see that kind of come true, you know, for her, it was an awesome feeling.
That's amazing.
Dope. And you came back and paid it back. You finished
right.
college and paid it back.
Right.
That's the only reason I even went to my graduation, and it was only because of my mom. Like, I didn't care about walking across the stage.
I'm like
My
that
mom,
too. I
my
get
mom,
it.
but I
Yeah.
knew my mom
That's
would love
big,
it.
man.
Yeah.
You think you would have regretted it if you didn't walk across the stage? No. Oh.
I'm like
They
that
didn't
too.
even pronounce my name right.
What they say? How they say?
It was like they
Deacon?
said Kevin McCourty,
Oh man.
Wow, after playing football for them for so long?
and I had got drafted already.
Wow. Yeah, they did you wrong.
Give us your unbiased opinion.
Uh-oh.
We know you played with Tom Brady. Who's the greatest athlete of all time?
Athlete.
Any sport,
Any sport, athlete.
I'll say Michael Jordan.
Okay, thank you. My guy.
All right.
Because that's how I feel.
I love
what I'm
Tom,
saying?
but
I love
like,
Tom, but
Tom's a great. I think he's one of the greatest champions. I think it's kind of crazy because just in this city, the greatest champion of all time would be Bill Russell.
right.
I mean, just the amount of championships he's won. Like,
I like Bill, but they had 8 teams back then, though.
I don't care.
You
11-time champion,
Bill is a legend.
and he had to beat Wilt Chamberlain.
Right. And I would say this too. Even I watched some footage on Bill. A lot of them championships, they didn't expect them to win. Mm-hmm. And he won it. I'm like, yo.
And during those times.
Yeah, during those times.
big.
And you know, one thing about Bill Russell, like he's an advocate. Like I
Bro.
respect Bill Russell like tremendously. You know what I'm saying? Because he did a lot of things, and especially at that time.
I did a lot of research on him when I moved up here and started playing. Kind of understand the landscape of like Boston in general and like the history. And I thought it was interesting, especially when they built the statue of him and him talking about how he never came back to Boston, like how he kind of low key hated Boston because of, you know what I mean, all of the glory he got after the fact, and people talk about the championships. And he said people didn't talk about how I was treated.
Because he probably was in Walton.
Yeah.
He
Well,
was
he-
in Walton.
but
he wasn't in the city.
You see
But-
where-
and
you
then,
see where
know,
Reggie Lewis was at.
Yeah, and then them sports
that's
sports
true.
fans that they go to them games, they don't really be living in the city. They live in, you know what I'm saying? And they're like fanatics. They're like out of their mind.
And
Don't
then,
worry,
you know,
I'm
back
saying,
in
like,
the day, though, for him in the 60s and stuff, like,
Yeah.
you were black. You know what I mean?
Right.
They might love what you do on the court, but as soon as you walk out, he said,
That's
like,
still like that today.
yeah, but like those
crazy.
hotels, he said, like, I
Yeah.
couldn't stay in that hotel.
Right.
You let me know
Yeah, I
when they
don't-
throw soda at you. We pulling up.
Oh yeah, listen.
I
Don't-
can't do that.
Let's keep the leash on her.
Right.
she gonna have you in trouble. You know what I'm
Not
saying?
because of that. They can't be doing that. Like especially when you, for me, like we talk all the time. You know, like I don't care, it's a sports thing.
Yeah, you
For
can't
me,
be
when
doing
you
that.
have someone who, you know what I mean, like you're working or whatever, whether you're a football player or a hockey player or whatever. They say it happens a lot with the Red Sox games. It's like you sitting out there
Yeah, that's
yelling out
ignorant.
race.
Racial
Come on,
comment,
don't do
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, don't
or
do that.
throwing stuff at people and stuff like that. Like that's wild. Y'all tripping.
I always say that,
You
though.
experienced any of that here?
So
called
it-
racial slur?
It was funny at Boston University. I did a race and gender Andrea Kramer. She's from Massachusetts, so she does this Boston every year, or she used to do it. And they asked a question, you know, like as sports figures, do you guys face racism? Because they talking about Jay Farrell, the comedian, talked about like his time in Boston. You know, different places he went, it was the worst kind of racism he's faced.
Because, like I said, where do they go?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think too, because when you think of Boston, I think most people don't think of the minority communities.
Right.
They think of, you know what I mean, what kind of gets the rap. And it was funny because Brian Scalabrine was there and he was like, you know, I've been out with KG and Paul Pierce. Like, I've never seen them go through anything racist. racist. And I was like, yo, Skylar Breen, I said, Kevin Garnett's 7 foot and Paul Pierce is 6'7".
Yeah.
I said, wherever they go, most people know who they are.
Right.
I said, so like, even if you're a racist person, you gonna walk up to Garnett and say something to him? No. Nah. But I remember when I first got here and I was in Foxborough, I'm in a Stop and Shop. And it was me and my roommate, this dude, Terrence Johnson, and he had dreads. And I had short haircut. And we walking through and like this older white lady walks by. So, you know what I mean, got my carriage and, you know what I mean, I stop. You know what I mean, let the lady go by. She stops and she looks at us and she hits us with the.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And I just started laughing because it's to me, no matter what level of success, what you do, like in our country, there will always be moments where you're reminded of what you are. Like Randy Moss used to say this all the time. Randy Moss would be like, and I was only with Randy for like maybe 1 or 2 months before he got traded my rookie year. He used to be like, man, and this is before he fixed that West Virginia accent that he don't have on TV anymore.
Yeah. He still got a little bit of a touch of it, but it ain't like it was. I'm like, oh, man.
He said, man, when I retire, I'm going back. I'm going to Sweden or something where don't nobody care about my black hair. I'm going to just be black. And I used to die laughing because it's true. Like, I think celebrity and some kind of fame sometimes grant you what you like. You know what I mean? You look at O.J. Simpson's story. Like, I'm not black, I'm O.J., I'm the juice. And it's like, oh, are you? You know what I mean?
That was crazy to me.
He got black real quick during that trial.
You know what I mean? Like, look, that's the reality.
My grandmother, she was in the Nation of Islam, so she raised my mom like that. That's the reason why I don't eat pork. So my mom raised us. I didn't have to go to the mosque because I would have hated it. But I didn't eat pork. She raised us like that and stuff like that. My mom had to go, and all her siblings, they had to go to the mosque and, you know, wear the thing, cover their hair and stuff like that. But I got pictures of my grandmother like with Farrakhan and stuff. She knows all these people. But those times is like crazy because it's kind of like the Bill Russell times, you know what I'm saying? Coming up in that time, my mom dealt with busing and stuff like this in the city. Yeah, so, you know, rocks being thrown at the bus and stuff like that. So it's kind of crazy that, you know what I'm saying, we still going through some of the stuff, but not as bad as they was going to the stuff. It's like, yo, they calling it, because I've been called a nigga by white people, you know, and it's like, yo, what? I was ready to, I buy Fenway. Oh man, me and my friend, we was ready to fight, but I'm like, you know what? We're not gonna win this.
You're gonna get arrested.
Mine
because
was like,
we're going to jail and they're gonna walk away. You know what I'm saying? But they was with a couple people that was holding them back, like, no, just stop. And I'm just like, you know what? Like, if we pursue it, we're going to jail at the end of the day. I know.
But that's what's not fair because there's so many people that cannot control that anger, that cannot hold back, that cannot have a friend that tell them to chill. And
depending on where I'm at, I don't know if I can. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and we have to understand, like,
and
them calling you that word, to me, it's violent. You know what I mean? So it's deeper than so many people can understand and think. But, I mean, like, for me, when I first can remember actually identifying and witnessing like racism was Pop Warner. We was kids. I was a cheerleader. You had the football teams, you know. So we would go and play out Boston. At the time, we was the only Boston team, so it was the Boston Raiders. And we'll go out and play. Then later on, Dorchester had the Dorchester Eagles. But then at the time, so every kid of color, every kid from the hood played for the Boston Raiders. And we was out in like Roxbury. Right.
I think they might have been.
Shout out to them. They was spanking shit.
Raiders at the time,
there was Roxbury Raiders. Then they went to Boston Raiders. Yeah. So.
Because they got all these kids from the whole city.
Because it was all over the city. Yeah. So then it's like, so going to these towns like Weymouth and like Foxborough and all those towns, playing those kids, like, first of all, we would come on a team, you know, like, even us, like, being little city kids. I remember, like, even our team, like, being intimidated because there was some big white kids, right? So we was like, damn, but, like, our kids was faster. Like, you know, we had the hood babies. Like, they backflips. It was cool. Like, we won. Like, we was spanking things. It was great, us as cheerleaders. But you're not at the end of the game.
I didn't know you was a cheerleader.
Definitely. I got the pictures to show you.
I got to post your picture online.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
hold on, like,
but all through, I think.
You was a tomboy.
Nah, but I was a cheerleader. Definitely with me and Sky. Definitely. Yep. Then we went to playing ball. But
which Sky? The police officer?
Yeah, we was captains together at the Raiders. But anyway, so going back, And I remember even me and Sky, like, we were like tough little girls. So it was like, what? But when we would line up in good game, you know, after the game, whatever. And
they call you names.
Nah, they didn't call us names. Like, you'll put your hand out and dap them up, and the cheerleaders will go after the football players. Then I would always notice, because obviously they'll do it to the football players first. They would like put their sleeve down and not want to touch you.
How you know that? You experienced it?
I mean, like the realest experience of racism I went to, I think we were like 11 years old, and me and my brother was at a park, and we were playing 2-on-2 basketball. And like I said, me and my brother were both quick, fast, so we were playing against 2 white kids, and like, I think we beat them like 11-1 or something. Yeah. And they was like, man, you monkeys, and like, you know what I mean? And, you know, like you just said, you get hot. And then, you know what? We was like, you know what? Check the ball up. Didn't let them score. Right. And like, that's when you kind of, but I think that's why I always think it's important for parents to tell kids like what that looks like, that like you're going to go places that people won't know you, and just because of your skin color, they're going to call you name. Like, I think you have, and like my mom used to do that. Like even yesterday, it's February, like I watched a video with my kids about Martin Luther King. They're 4 and 3. But I'm putting a little bit in their mind, because they know, like they notice that not everyone looks the same. Like they see those things. Right. So I think it's so important that you don't want your kids to grow up thinking that a race is bad people, but you want them to grow up and know that, hey, there's going to be places you go, that there's going to be nothing you do and people are going to hate you. Especially I feel like that because my kids are going to grow up totally different than how I grew up.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? So I'm navigating something that I'm not used to. Right. You know what I mean? Like, my wife buys stuff for Christmas and stuff, and I'm like, yo, you buying too much stuff. Like, they got to, because I'm always, like, that's how I think. You know what I mean? Because I know how I grew up, and I know, like, when you don't have a lot, you value it. And then it teaches you that when you get something of your own, or that you value, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to learn how to raise my kids from a perspective and a way of life that's foreign to me. So it's something that me and my brother always talk about.
That's me. I'm buying, like, I can't go Christmas shopping. I'm buying too much stuff.
When I retire, I got to get more into it. My kids be opening gifts on Christmas. I'll be like, damn, I don't even know. I didn't know you got that.
Oh, yeah. See,
brutal.
I do the Christmas shopping.
Oh,
you
do?
Yeah, I do the Christmas shopping. So I'm buying all the stuff. And I'm like, every year I tell my girl, like, man, you gotta do it for me. You know how to budget better.
Yeah.
I'm just in the store, like, this ain't enough. Let me get that. I'm buying all my friends' kids gifts.
You get to checkout and you're like, I spent this much.
I didn't even put a dent in this, and I had a whole list. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. You got to do this for me, because I'm buying too much stuff, because I'm thinking back when I was a kid and I wanted all this stuff.
But I tell you that all the time. You buy all the kids' stuff. I tell you, you got to get the kids on birthdays.
She had to tell us, right? Because I'm buying all the kids' stuff. She's like, listen, we're only doing birthdays. We're not doing Christmas, because we're doing Christmas and birthdays.
So I'm like,
hate when my friends be doing that, because then I'll be like,
some of them, their birthdays fall right after. It's like it's Christmas, then it's his birthday, then it's this one's birthday, then this one got a son, it's his birthday, then this one won't give me 3 godkids.
I was like, thanks, bro, because I wasn't gonna be the one to say it. You know what I'm saying?
Somebody needed to say it.
It had to be said. But speaking of racism, right? Recently we had something. Ex-coach of yours, Brian Flores.
It's my guy.
Yeah. And you guys tweeted out. Y'all share Twitter? You and your brother, y'all tweeted out in support of Brian. And the NFL came out and said it was baseless.
Yeah, then they changed it.
And I'm like, what?
They made another statement
after they made another statement?
That they made a statement, you know what I mean, not supporting what he said, but making it known that they know they still have work to do when it comes to diversity and different things like that. I text Flo that night and was like, hey, man, let me know, like, any support you need, like, you know what I mean, reach out. And Flo, being Flo, texted me back. He was like, I just want you to tell the truth. Yeah. Tell the truth of what you know. Right. You know what I mean? Right. And I think that's what's so key, because, like, for everybody else, this is, like, a big deal. Like, these conversations go on all the time. Like, we know the Rooney Rule. Like, we know, I mean, if you go over the last 2 years, you can pull up all the black coaches that get interviewed. It's the same coaches. It's 1 or 2 new ones every year.
They cycle.
But, like, Gerard Mayo. Mayo's going to keep getting interviewed every year. Why? Because we got to fit the Rooney Rule. Like, we need a black coach. And we think he has head coach potential, but, like, when they interview Mayo, they know, like, the Raiders knew they were going to hire Josh McDaniels already.
Yeah.
Like, the Broncos knew that they were going a different direction. I forgot who they Nathan Hackett from Green Bay. Like, they knew that already. Right. And, like, I was talking to Mayo, and that's what he said to me. He's like, I went on the interviews, but, like, I knew they already had their guy. And, like, that happens all the time.
That's
you know what I mean? But
and you got to do it.
You can't turn it down. But me and I was talking to a bunch of the guys in the group chat, and we were talking about it. Like, the reality is everybody's like, well, how do you fix it? That's a hard question. How do we fix somebody's heart? You can't, like, how do we tell this guy, like, hey, you own this team, but we don't want you to pick we want to pick the guy for you. So now you're telling me, like, imagine you own something and you got to hire the person that's going to run it. Are you going to hire someone that doesn't look like you, talk like you, act like you, where you're from? That's going to be hard for you to do. And now we asking, especially these guys are old white men who grew up in times where black folks weren't seen as equal. Mm-hmm. Like, they didn't view, like, you know what I mean? And I remember going...
3/5 of a man.
Yeah, like, we a couple years ago when guys were taking knees and we took a knee, they had a meeting with a few of the owners and some players. There's some owners, they're not coming to that meeting because to them, they're like the Jerry Joneses of the world. Yeah. And Bob McNair, before he passed away, he's a Houston Texans owner. Sit at a table with a bunch of black players that I pay. Yeah. They're like, why would I do that? Yeah. They don't deserve to sit around the table with me. You know what I mean? So that's what we're talking about changing. We're basically look at every, Fortune 500 company, go to their webpage and see what the CEO looks like, the president. They don't look like us. Right. So, like, I know the NFL is, they're going to get all the press right now because they should. NFL always talks about leading the charge of change. Like, it's time to do that. And it's not just coaches, it's GMs, but it's also the business side of football. Like, the president, the marketing side. Like, you go, like, those front offices and you go in those buildings that have nothing to do with football and you walk around, you might see 3 black people in the whole office. You don't see black folks over there.
Crazy. That's true. Because when I went to the stadium
you don't
during
see
the daytime,
folks.
it wasn't.
You don't see black folks there, and that's every team.
The only people I saw was, like, whatever players that was there to sign whatever.
That's just how it is. Because it's America. That's how America is.
Yeah, it's a sad situation. And then I was watching First Take. I forget. I know it was Marcus Spears on there, Stephen A, and then somebody else that was talking about it. I can't.
Ryan Clark, maybe.
I can't exactly. I don't think it was Ryan, but he was like, you got to change. You can't change their mind. You got to change their heart. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to go out with them and show them. Right. So they can see these things, even like, because if you tell them, they're not going to do it. They can't feel it. You know what I'm saying? So you got to kind of change their heart, like you said. You know what I'm saying? He was saying the same thing. Like, you got to kind of show them. Like,
but what can be done to change things, though?
Like, bring them into certain situations so they can see where you're coming from. You know what I'm saying? And see what's going on.
Like we talked about earlier, like, for example, like with Kraft, he took the time to go and meet Meek. And meeting Meek, that was the first person he ever met that's actually been incarcerated. And it changed his perspective on so much that we could talk on later, like even how it brought back to him helping people out in Boston. Right. Yeah. So you're right. Like, you have to change their heart and change their mind.
And I think one of the key things too is, I think as a community, like, we gotta, and you see it more and more now, we gotta build up our kids to be versatile and do different things. Like, one of my boys from college started his own NFT line, Tribe X. Right. And, like, the focus of it is to teach young black and brown kids about Web 3.0, NFTs. Like, he was like, think about all this stuff, crypto, Web T. He was like, NFTs. He was like, all that stuff comes out, and the black community guys like, I don't know what that is. He was like, those are the things, like, those are the new cutting edge things, and in 15, 20 years, that's how the world might work. And he was like, we can't be left behind. I think that's why you start, like him, if his company takes off, now we got a company that's at the top of the charts that is owned by a black person. So, I think, football's hard because I think if we had ownership of a team, now you start to see what that looks like to employ people that look like you, that talk like you. But to get ownership, all 31 other teams need to agree that you're allowed to buy the team. Are they going to allow that? No. You know what I mean? So
and that's crazy.
And I think it's hard too because, like, even when you get to know people, like, I think oftentimes you guys have heard people say this, like, they're different than you. Like I've had people say that to me. You know, like, you know, you're black, but you know, they're different. And I think that is the mindset of people. Like, all right, like I can meet a good black person, but like the majority of them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I think that's the thing that we have to change. And I think you've seen that now with more education of what it looks like for some kids to grow up. Like some people don't understand, like when a kid's messing up in school, like what breakfast looks like. And then people be like, well, that's their parents' fault. All right, well, let me tell you their story. And people don't understand that because for a lot of people, you know, like we were talking about when you kick your kids out, for a lot of people, their kids go through high school, they go through college, and then they call up their college buddy and say, hey, Ro needs a job. Can she intern for you this summer? And then they hire you. And now out of nowhere, you started a career in corporate America that started when you were born. Like they already knew this plan when you were born. And here we are,
Very
like
true.
how I grew up, I was like, man, I gotta make it in football because like, I know if I can play football, I'll go to college for free. And then if the NFL doesn't work, I know that I have a shot just because like me and my brother was the first people that went to college and graduated college. Like I didn't know anybody that went and graduated college, but I knew like football could be a path to do that. And I think for so long, like college wasn't in a thing for black and brown people. And now once it is, now you look up and it's like, man, having a college degree, not even the best thing to have anymore. And it's like, well, damn, we just got caught up to this. And you know what I mean? There's nonprofits that help us go to school.
Now that's minimized.
Exactly.
Because, you know, so many black people graduating now. Now that's minimized.
So now we fall
But
behind
it's
in that.
how
you know?
too, though, right? Like even for us, if I get myself out of a situation, right, and where I didn't know, product of my environment, I didn't know any better. I got myself out that situation. Now I know better, right? Retrain my thinking, everything. I'm living a different life, but it's also for me. I feel like it's my duty to go back
And grab
and bring on. You know what I mean? And sometimes we always be like, oh, these people don't. Yeah, you can't dwell on. Sometimes people ain't ready, right? And that's whether the street life, that's whether the crack addiction, whatever it is. Like some people are just not ready, but you can't focus on that. You gotta let them be and come back later.
Yeah, try to meet them where they're at.
And then a lot of people do charity work, right? But it's not known. So people judge you because they don't know you do this charity work. And, you know, people in the hood, we not looking. You know, well, a lot of people ain't looking for, like, the things that people be doing. They just assume you don't do nothing. And I'm like, well, these people do charity work. Like, everybody assumes Michael Jordan don't do charity work. I'm like, y'all are crazy. Because he's not publicizing it. A lot of people do it privately.
But I do think it's important when you have a certain platform like Mike to do that.
Right.
Because like
I do too.
Because if he's giving, imagine the billionaires that love him that might give too.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So for instance, right, I think when you give, you know, like if I do something for my friends, I'm gonna keep that private.
Yeah.
But if I give like to the public, you know, we should share this because we got to inspire others to do
I
it.
agree.
You know what I'm saying? But you see people on social media like, why y'all throw them cameras in them people's face? But if you ask permission for them to, we're just highlighting what's going on.
Because honestly,
somebody has to help
it does.
because I can't.
You
me
can't do it all.
Yeah, and then I can't. I don't throw away clothes. I can't do it. I have to give it away. Like toys, I have to give it away. I'm like, yo, other people need this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I can't.
And believe it or
do
not, we do.
So I do it all the time. I
yeah.
hit her up like, bro, you got she'll call me like, you got some clothes. I'm like, yeah, I got some clothes. You got some kid toys.
I just hit you up earlier today.
And I said,
Yup.
yeah,
like, yo, you got some baby clothes?
Yeah, she's like, you got some baby clothes, and I'm like, yeah, I have to go through them.
Because believe it or not, like to you bought them clothes, whatever the kids outgrow them, right? And you probably give it to Goodwill. Goodwill is gonna turn around and sell that, for whatever profit. And I'm hoping they're doing the right things. I don't know. I don't work for them, but I know for us, like we are connected to our community, right? I'm someone that people are comfortable hitting me a text, hitting me a DM. Hey, Ro, like. Because humbly, I'm not going to share that with you on who I gave that clothes to, but they know. You know what I mean? Like, there's somebody that may he rest in peace, you know, was a homeless man from my community. I loved him. He was my friend. You know what I mean? But
she loved him.
that's my guy. Everybody, you know what I mean? Like, I took care of this, like, the community took care of him. And I remember, like, he was the same size as Lean, and Lean had clothes. So now this homeless man to be outside, he probably asking you for change, and he in Armani.
He got some good clothes on.
Yeah. I gave him a whole bunch of old
I
clothes.
remember
I've
when
never
True
worn.
Religions went out.
Like, True Religions
True
out of
Religions,
style. And
he
I
was
just
out
had
there
him
with
sitting
all
in
True
my
Religion
crib, and I'm
jeans.
like, I don't need these. Like,
I
you
do
know
that
what I'm
with my
saying?
suits and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you
So-
just try
He had
to.
on fresh sneakers.
Yeah.
Listen to him. He was the man out
so
there.
she had him in the whole fit. I'm like, yo, but he, you know, he was happy. You know
Yo,
what I'm
to him,
saying?
it
Just
lit
like-
him up.
That's what it's about.
And you
But
know
that
what's
make-
crazy? He would
doing
tell me,
things
put
for
him
others
on.
make
Yeah.
me happy. Like people, because I don't get high. I don't smoke and I don't drink, right? Because when I was younger, you know, we had a strong "Say No to Drugs" campaign, and I always felt like smoking and drinking, I'll be following somebody else. I don't want to follow nobody else.
Yeah.
I want to do what I want to do. So
You always never smoke and drink?
I
No.
never. I don't even know
Ever.
what weed. I don't even know the taste of weed, the high,
Yeah,
nothing.
never.
I never smoked
Nah,
weed.
that's dope.
I had a sip of like a beer when I was probably
Yeah,
like
yeah,
12.
yeah.
But he got
you
a
know what I'm
whole
saying?
bar at
But-
his house.
But yeah, if
He
you,
likes to host.
yeah, because I host. I buy
You
the
gotta
liquor for
watch
the
him.
guests. They say I buy the liquor because I'm gonna provide the vibe. You know what I'm saying? So y'all drink.
We'll be at
okay,
the.
but
we'll
just
be
don't
at
get
the.
drunk.
Yeah, but you. Yeah,
Just don't get drunk because you get drunk, I'm clowning you. You know what
Nobody
I'm
like
saying?
it's not good to be the smart
No.
sober
Right.
person.
No, oh no, he has the time of his life with that camera.
I'm observing everything. So
Yeah.
my thing is like, I didn't do none of that stuff. I didn't want to do none of that stuff. So we had a heavy "Say No to Drug" campaign when we was younger. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't do this, do it. And I
But
didn't.
why
wanna-
you don't never tell us to say no?
I say no.
No, you don't. We'll go to the bar and I'll have pull out my little dollars and buy a shot. You
Listen.
come and buy the whole bottle. Like, here, bro.
Yeah,
like,
but
I
if-
can't drink the whole
Listen. If you an alcoholic,
That's
I'm not
saying no.
supporting that. You know what I'm saying? But if you
But if you
drink,
drink, yeah.
moderately,
Well, I will
and
say
that's
that
your thing,
because
you know
because
what I'm saying?
I did
would
stop
buy-
recently and you
I
did
would-
support me as a friend all
so
the way.
my thing is like, don't go full throttle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you know, what I'm
We
saying?
used to go full throttle.
Who you?
Me, Gore.
Yeah. She.
We quit though. We're doing great.
You sure you quit?
we
Where's your
team
chip?
water.
Where's your chip at? You got a 30 days, 60 days.
I don't need that.
You know what I'm saying?
Strong will,
Like,
baby.
I need to check because
Strong will, I
I had
don't
to
need
hit
that.
her on. I said, "Yo, bro, you drinking?" She's like, "No."
No.
I'm like, "All right," but I'm on the phone. You smoking though? You know what I'm saying?
We ain't got to tell the public.
Yeah.
Well, it's legal. I still need my dispensary card. That's what you need to fight for next.
Nah, you got too many charities and organizations. You never have enough. You know what I'm saying? But you got
He
a whole.
donate
I'm
to
reading.
more
I said, God
charities
damn, I
than
can't
he
remember all
play
of this.
football.
I had to put it in my phone. I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, he's doing a lot of stuff for the community.
Stuff that I didn't know, and I thought
How
I knew
did
it
you
all.
get into that?
Naturally, like I said, I feel like growing up in apartment buildings like I grew up in, like you always had neighbors. So like my aunt lived across the walkway from us. My grandmother lived across the street in the other apartments, and cousins lived behind. We had a neighbor that lived.
You lived in Dorchester.
My neighbor lived below us. Like if we did anything wrong, Miss Brady telling my mom as soon as you know what I mean.
right.
So like to me, that sense of community raised us. Like we all get in. Like my mom would take a bunch of us to football practice, and you know what I mean. If somebody else's mom couldn't, and you jumped in, like my mom had a station wagon, so it'd be 3 people in the trunk, like 3 in the back seat. Like we packed it in. And to me, like I was just like, man, like when you get older, you kind of think about it like, damn, you know, if my mom worked, somebody in the community would have made sure I got to and from. And I was like, that's dope. Like you don't kind of think about how important that is to your upbringing. And so when I got older, like even in college, we used to do things with the Special Olympics and go to the opening ceremony. And then when I got into the NFL, like I said, it was kind of a long shot for me to be in the NFL. And I've always felt like I must have made it for a reason.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I tell people all the time, especially in the building, like I truly believe like my time in New England, like when people talk about, 15, 20 years from now, like, yeah, like I was a good player, but I thoroughly believe people be like, bro, he was different. Like he went to the state house and fought legislation for kids with school, for raising the age for juvenile justice. Man, he was a part of.
We're gonna get there.
You know what I mean? He was a part of those. And I think for me, I feel like that's legacy. You know what I
Yes,
mean? Like
that is.
what you do
Definitely.
on the football field, somebody's gonna do that better. Like no doubt about it. Whatever I've
Better
done,
than Tom?
Whatever. No, see, he's
Okay.
he's one guy that might. But eventually, at some
Somebody
point in
gonna
time,
beat Tom.
somebody's probably gonna do that. You know what I mean? Like there was a Michael Jordan. Everybody was like nobody ever. And then there was a LeBron James.
There
Now,
was a Kobe before
who you
LeBron.
think-
Come on, Devin.
I'm just saying, whoever you think is better, that's up to you. But
Ain't nobody
there's
better than
guys,
Mike.
There's guys in that conversation
Right,
that you
yeah.
thought we would never like. We never thought we'd be talking about LeBron James went to the finals 10 times.
Right.
Yeah.
Like what you mean? Like there's too much parity. There's too many good players.
Right.
We never thought we'd see like Kobe Bryant. Man, how many championships? What, 5? Like how? Like we never thought someone would get close to Mike 6. But like that's what sports is. But I think what you do off the field or off the court, like LeBron, like bro, you started a school.
Right.
Like bro, that's unheard of. Like you start like.
Yeah, that's amazing to me.
There's gonna be kids that like go become something in life, and it's gonna be like, yo, it's because I went to LeBron's school.
If you could change one kid, you know what I'm saying, his life, you're gonna affect so many other lives.
No doubt about it.
Just one kid. You know what I'm saying? So it's like schooling. It's a major thing. But one thing about school, right? I feel like the curriculum has to change.
Definitely, especially
Because
in,
I feel like what we're
especially in
being
public
taught,
school.
like it's like if you was told a lie, right, by somebody, you're not gonna trust that person no
Right.
more. So sometimes we go to school and we learn lies.
Well,
About history.
Not sometimes, all the
So
time.
that kind of turns people off. It's like, damn, this is all a lie. Y'all pushing this on us. I feel like in these schools, some of the curriculum has to change. Like we have to, even like in high school, we got to teach these kids how to budget, how to work on their
Financial
credit,
literacy.
Real life things,
Yeah,
yeah.
real life things instead of stuff that we never probably gonna use again. And it's like, what are we teaching these kids sometimes instead of false history? You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like let's learn real history. You know what I'm saying? Like what was wrong, what can be changed, financial literacy, like stuff like that. Like because I'm like sometimes we people donate to these schools but they're in a messed up area. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's like putting you dressing up, you got some nice clothes on but your insides are messed up. I feel like sometimes that's like with the school. The school looks nice, but the inside is messed up. Like, as far as the people and
Administration.
administration, what's going on? Like, I feel like we got to change that.
I'm
know what
gonna
saying?
look at it
Because
like this,
these
like-
kids, they need help. You know what I'm saying?
But if you look at, we went to, for middle school, we went to the King School, right? In the King School, it's still the same building, it's still the same structure, it's still the, but
Shout out to King School. I love the King
it
School.
went from like, but us, it was just middle school. Then now it's kindergarten
Not to me, it was family.
but it was middle school.
I
6th,
love
7th, 8th
middle
grade.
school.
Listen,
But
it
go
was
ahead.
6th, 7th, 8th grade,
Say
but
now it's
Not so
bigger.
much high school,
no,
but I
but
love
now,
middle school.
no, it was 6th, 7th, 8th grade when we were there, but now it's kindergarten to the
It's
8th grade.
elementary and middle, yeah.
And then now that, from
That's
what
too
I
much.
heard,
I don't
they
like that.
switched
And
it.
it's in the same
Yeah, but they
building.
just switched it, and
I don't
now
like
it's
that.
just elementary. They taking the 6th and 7th grade out. But if you take the middle school out, where people from that
Where they
neighborhood, that
going?
community, where they're gonna go?
Yeah, that I don't like that, and I don't like K through 8.
Yeah.
The reason why I don't like that because it's too wide of a gap of kids.
Yeah.
And that's when you get
Like
the
you got a
bullying and the
1-year-old.
stuff like
I mean,
that, 'cause
not a
we-
1-year-old.
people-
First
people
grader,
crack
and then
jokes.
you got the.
Yeah. I don't like
It
that.
didn't work
Like,
well
Well,
for me.
I think the hard thing too is because private schools are able to do that, but it's selective. There's space. This gorgeous campus.
It's
that they-
huge.
you know what I mean?
Like my
taking
son
care of-
goes to K through 8.
And
I-
you probably don't even know. Sometimes you don't know, but like and I tell you like how you talking about administration, it's even above them. Like when I was fighting for for the Promise Act to bring $1 billion into Massachusetts schools,
Right.
it blew my mind that the first year it came up, for legislation, like, hey, are we going to pass this or are we going to deny this? And they were like, oh, we can't decide, and we're going to summer recess.
We're
so
gonna push it back.
We're just going to push it back a whole year. So like. The first time I sat down with them, and it was the Black and Latino caucus.
yeah.
And like, shout out to them. But I was just like, so y'all telling me your jobs are to get these kids funding. Like, we got to do something, right?
Y'all deny it.
I said, no matter who's right or wrong, I said, each year you allow, like, to come to no conclusion. I said, another kid who's now in the school, and whether you're $1 billion short, is it better to be $500 million short than $1 billion, or would you rather just stay at the bill? I was like, that's why I would never do. Like, people always come up to me and they're like, all that you do, you should run for office. I would never do it.
You know,
because
they criticize you too much.
And
And
people-
it'd be out of your control, too.
there's so much other things that you have to do other than like fighting for the people that you have to do. Like, you're so handcuffed with things that like I sat there and I was just like, yo, they did this report in 2014, and at this time it was 2019, or it was 2014. It was either 5 years or 4 years. I said, do y'all realize one kid has gotten all the way through high school with you guys already knowing that there was a huge deficit financially, and you let a whole class go through high school and not fix it? I was like, that doesn't bother y'all at night? Like, it blew my mind.
It don't
I was
bother
like,
me.
and I told him, I said, maybe I'm messed up because I said, I work in a job that every day, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, our contracts aren't guaranteed, so they can cut us. I said, I watch men come in and get fired somebody gets fired every week. I said, like, then y'all come here and you just go to recess. Like, oh,
But
well,
these
we
are
didn't
people,
solve
these
it.
are politicians, right? And this is where I'm gonna go back and like us as a community have to take responsibility. These are politicians. They getting voted
They
in
getting
just like
elected.
we could vote
Yep.
them out. But then we also have to get behind our people and vote people in. And in our city, what I see in Boston, because you know I'm big on this now. What I see in Boston is a lot of people vote for who's popular or who's their people or who.
Or what party
You know what
they
I mean?
align
Right,
with, no matter what the
with
person's saying.
Right.
And then
So
some
you
of
could
us
come to
don't
me-
vote.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
and a lot that, especially like where lawmakers, like I think when it comes to the state reps and the senates, like we definitely need to vote because those are the people that changes the laws. Those are the people that's gonna fight for us.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I didn't learn that until recently because me, it was my whole life. This is messed up. This is messed up.
Why they doing this?
Right.
Yeah.
But now it's like, how can I change that instead of just saying this is messed up?
Yep.
What can I do to make change? But then I also learned like I had to align myself with senators. I had to align myself with, with state reps. And, it first time, like Rachel Rawlins, you know what I mean? Like she's someone who, once she got into office, she wanted to meet me. She got to know me. You know what I mean? For me, not despite what them papers said. And it was like getting together as women in the city and trying
What
to make
papers?
change. Well, my past.
But it is interesting because we did
Corey.
we did a district attorney forum, and we did that when Rachel Rollins was running, and it was dope because all we did was host a debate, and it was like, yo, people gonna come here because it's me, my brother, Matt Slater, so they can be like, oh, the Patriots is there, and then they get there and they learn like, yo, we mad that they charged this kid with this crime, or we mad they didn't charge that officer. And it was like, yo, we vote. Wait, people were like, wait, so we get to vote who makes those decisions.
Right.
It was like,
And we didn't know that.
you get to,
Like a lot of,
And you can
see,
meet
these are
with
things
those
we gotta
people.
learn.
I just learned that with the governor's council.
We gotta
so
learn
like
these things.
with William Allen and Thomas Coons, who just got clemency.
Right,
You know what I mean?
shout out to them.
Once the governor gave them clemency, you're not done yet. You got to go do a hearing in front of the governor's council. So I'm talking to Robin. I'm like, yo, the governor's council, like he just picks those people once he's governor. She was like, nah, they're elected. I was like,
Yep.
what? Like, cause
So
you
do
know
you do a hearing to get out?
Yeah.
bro, it was like a 4-hour
The governor
hearing. I'm
will
in there.
the governor will pardon you, but the council got
They got to
agree
make the
with it.
decision. And like
Yeah.
you look and you sit there and they were talking about
It's
diversity.
like parole.
They were talking about diversity and everything. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, what we
And how many
talking
white
about? I'm
people?
like,
Can I ask you a
she's-
question? How many
she's
black
over-
people you seen at the table?
One of the ladies, I was like, all right, she's over 50 white. He's over 60 white. He's over 65 white. He's over 60 white. He's in his 40s and 50s white. She's over 65 white. And I'm like,
And the guy sitting at this table is what?
what? And I'm like, and y'all talking about diversity? Y'all need diversity on the governor's council.
That's what I'm talking about.
So,
You know,
so how do you?
I think
That's
it's
like you
like
don't-
Rose said though, like we like our community, like you can't, like we can't sit back and like just tweet or complain. Like there's things that we can do, like electing different people, getting other people to understand and getting other people to run.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, yo, the governor's council, like there might be somebody that's like one of the guys was a special ed teacher who ran for the governor's council. So there might be people that in the community that are doing great things and knows the community well. Like you need those people to run.
But I'll say this, like last election cycle for the city council, like I got my name in, but then I pulled back. And many people was like, yo, Ro, why you did that? Like first, my name went in because I was listening to my community and not really actually myself. So yeah, I'm someone that's in the community. I'm advocating for changes. Like my voice is big. You know, I'm honest. I'm all, you know, with it. Like I'm gonna put it out there. Be a bully with it, because sometimes you have to. Because they ate up our people for so long. It's like, nah, enough of this. But then also I had to take a step back, because I had to think about my family and friends. Because I also see how I have friends who are in politics now, and like. People talk about people they're dating. You know what I mean?
It's got to be for you.
Crazy.
There's
yeah,
no
but
doubt
that's
about
like,
it.
but at the end of the day, like that's those people's private business.
Yeah.
So you saying you didn't want them to talk about the people you dated in the past?
Not because honestly, like no, like that's that. First of all, is it fair? Let's say if I dated you or whatever, and you had whatever, and it was years. It could have been 5 years ago, anything like that. Is it fair that people are talking about it today? If me and you are not talking about it, like you know
No,
what
it's
I mean?
not fair. I
It's
feel
not.
like people.
That's
We
how
shouldn't
they
be
roll.
And not
focused.
only
We
that,
shouldn't be
like-
focused on your
And
relationship.
not only
I
that,
feel
that's
like
and
what
not only
they
that,
do.
private.
and
I
this is
know,
the thing
but
that
I'm just
happens,
saying,
right?
like,
And
I
as a
don't care
woman,
about your
I see it.
relationship.
I see it with it's happening to women in politics. Like we have a friend that is happening to, like who she dates and what his past conviction was and anything like that. Like
Why does that matter?
Yeah, why does that matter? And why you putting that man's business out there just because you want to get me mad because I'm a city council or I'm the mayor? Look at what they doing to Mayor Wu now. I said
Oh, they're
it public.
crazy.
Nah, I
I'm
said
like-
it publicly on Twitter, and everybody thought I was wrong. Not everybody, but that side thought I was wrong. But y'all pulling up to this woman's house. Hear me out, and let's be fair. Y'all pulling up to this woman's house. Y'all singing racial slurs. Y'all disrespecting her. Y'all loud at all hours, all times, all of that. One, this woman has kids. I didn't vote for this mayor. I didn't push for her. I'm going to be real. I wasn't her supporter. But I'm going to be honest, as a mother, as a woman, as a human.
That's wrong.
You going to pull up to somebody's house like that every day. Her kids is looking out that window and y'all dogging their mother. No matter what I think of you or anybody think of you, your kids think you're a superhero.
Yeah.
Batman ain't got nothing on you. And that's how our kids are supposed to feel about us. I'm looking out the window and you dogging my mother. You calling her names. You know what I mean? You start thinking as a child, damn,
seen
what
it
is
on
my
the
mother
news.
doing wrong?
Yeah, that's true.
And then now let's take it back further. Y'all want me to run for politics, right? I'm from the inner city. My culture, how we get down with the address on my ID, might not be where I live at.
Right.
Now
right,
you done,
right.
now you done pulled up to my grandmother's house,
True, yeah.
right? And my nut ass uncle that's in the basement come outside and do some nut ass shit because he probably just did 25 years or anything, right? Because we have that. My uncle was in the war in
Don't come to
down
my
in
crib.
Africa, so don't go there. He got PTSD above 1,000. It's a whole different. And white people in front of the house yelling. This man was fighting Europe, so. For him, that PTSD, what does that look like? And if he come out the house and do some wild shit, who's wrong?
He's wrong.
Not him, me, the mayor, that
Yeah.
you came to my house looking for trouble. We grew up, I know y'all grew up the same way, where your mother, the OGs, everybody told you if you had beef with somebody, right? You didn't go to their house. And they told you that. And if you went to their house and got your ass whooped, what did they say? Who told you to go over there? So this is where culturally we wrong, and they get to disrespect us. They get to disrespect, you know what I mean, and do all of that and this thing. But imagine if that was a group of black people in front of somebody's house like that.
I mean, we saw that at the Capitol building
Right.
a couple years ago.
Yeah,
Right.
that was wild. I didn't understand that.
And you know how many people, young black people, people of color, that was like, yo, I thought if you touch the gate,
Yep.
they shoot you.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right, right.
you.
Yeah.
We
They
thought
do.
that. We like, you can't climb that gate. They
Yeah.
gonna shoot you.
Let alone run inside.
Inside.
Run inside. I'm like, what's going on?
They
here?
ran
This is
inside, they
crazy.
climbed,
And
they
then
had a party.
I felt like Trump encouraged it. You spoke out about Trump recently or something like that.
Yeah.
No, it was actually,
But
during
Trump,
the healing.
Trump encouraged that situation. He incited a riot. Had that been me, I would have been charged.
Oh,
I'm like, I don't understand this.
I used to have
Like,
these conversations with Mr. Kraft all the time because obviously, and I told him, I said, it's different for you. Like, Trump was a friend of his. Trump used to come to the games.
Yeah.
I was like, you might know a side of him that none of us know.
Right.
I said, but like to me, because like, and you know, boss man would always come up to me like, I'm telling you, there's some policies that he's doing. I said, I don't doubt that. I said, but the problem is what he incites out of people.
Right.
I said, when you go out there and you spew a bunch of nonsense out there,
Right.
I said, there's going to be some smart people that are like, man, he's crazy. I said, there's other people who believe cold-heartedly in what you're
Right,
saying,
right.
that they go to the Capitol building
Right.
and they storm the Capitol. Like
Right.
that, and to me, like, that's what leadership is. Like, you can't turn away and be like, well, I didn't mean it like that. No, but you're leading people. Like, you have to think about all those
had
things.
that been me or you, we would have been
No doubt about
charged.
it. There's no doubt about it.
And you know, that goes back to a lot of stuff in the city. Like, we get, like, who puts these judges in these courtrooms, because I feel like when a lot of times we go in these courtrooms and we don't got no chance. And we look at the judge and
I
I'm
never
like,
did.
and then people will tell you, don't get that judge. They denying everything. And it'll be true.
Yeah.
And end up happening. Like, you have an illegal search and they don't care. They just deny it, you know? And it's like, who put these people in this position? I'm like, who's
But
judging
then you
the
have
judges?
somebody
I'm
like-
I feel like if you're not from this area, you shouldn't be a judge,
But-
because you're never going to understand.
But it goes
what's
back to
going on.
this, and I just heard this in somebody, I forgot where it was like, but I heard somebody talk about it, and it was like, even when we think of our jury, right?
Yeah.
I've never seen a jury in my peer.
Right.
You know what I mean? Many of us didn't. I don't care what they talking about, what peer. When they say peer, that means you live in Dorchester and you live in Dorchester, you gonna judge her.
Yeah.
It don't matter, I live on Bowdoin, you live in Napontet.
Yeah,
You
right.
just live in Dorchester.
Right,
They don't
right,
care.
right,
That's how
right.
they look at it. But we also have to take responsibility, because when we get those things to sign up to do jury, we trying to find the first thing on there
get
not
out
to
of
get
it.
on there.
Yo, listen,
I'm a
listen.
convicted fella.
I'm gonna be honest.
I
If
don't
I
like
ever
white
get,
people.
if I ever, yeah, that's the first thing you say. They're like, yo,
Nobody
you
wants
know
to do
what I'm saying?
jury duty.
Nobody wants
Yeah.
to do it. So if I ever went to jury, right, and I'm sorry, but I don't know if I could say guilty.
But this
I
is
don't
what I'm
care
saying.
what they did.
Okay,
I'm like,
true.
unless,
okay.
you know,
but true.
some other
But the
stuff
way
you
I
ain't,
look at
you
it
know.
is like, so how am I gonna see the jury? My peers don't want to help me. And here go another
I'm going
thing.
on the jury.
Here go
next,
another
next
thing.
slip I get, I'm going.
There you go, my
You know
guy.
what I'm saying?
See how
I'ma
you
go.
change
Yeah,
things?
I'm gonna go down
But
there.
that's so true, and that's why I always say, like you said with the judges, I think it's so important to open the minds of the youth of like what you
Right.
can be.
Yeah.
Right.
You know
What
what
you
I
can
mean? You can like. We don't all have to see being a cop as a bad person. Like we all know and have connected with good cops that
Right,
do
right,
great
right, right.
community
Oh,
work.
Devin, you about to start something.
I'm just saying, like,
No,
I just,
not nothing bad about that. Like, you know how much scrutiny I get for that?
Says
like,
for saying that?
For prime example,
She wore
you know my
wire. Oh no.
yeah,
No.
see, this is my thing. No, somebody said that before. Aren't you
No,
with the people with the
no,
walkie-talkie?
'cause
Like,
we-
boy, you
yo,
ain't never even did
I
jail time.
seen it with all the police officers in the press conference and the mayor and all
First
of
of all,
them.
it wasn't the police. Let me get my. It was
Who
the
was it?
mayor.
The mayor.
It was my
the
guy.
DA.
No, he wasn't the DA at the time. Oh yeah, him. And
Yeah.
you know what's? Yeah.
And
don't
I
even know
sent
why
the
he was
picture
in
to the group
but
chat
you
like,
right.
what's going on here?
No, that's not what you said.
I was
you said,
okay. Come on,
You said,
come on. Don't say what I said.
No, I'm gonna say it so you won't tell. He gonna tell our friends like, y'all better check y'all phones. Like,
I was only playing though.
But
it was
it's
a
true,
joke.
like
It was
that's
a joke.
where like we look at certain positions and we're like, man, they have power to change, and then we don't want to be in those positions. Like we
Right.
gotta have people like you got, we were talking about Nora. Like that's someone who's
That's-
in a
oh, man.
she's in a position of power, and
and
she's
that's what
trying
it
to
is.
do it. You
Right.
know what I
and
mean?
that's what it is. Like with that, like people will see me with someone like Jeff. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And not even know that I know Jeff before he was a cop. We grew up in the same neighborhood.
He's what everybody
younger
asked
than me.
for. He's from the
Right.
community.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And
He's
then
from
Yeah,
my
I know a
neighborhood.
couple
All
cops that
right.
I
And
know
that we grew up with
kids,
their
like,
friends.
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, yeah,
we
like,
grew up with
so-
them. It's like I'm not gonna dish you because you. To be honest with you, where I stand at is we went to the same high school. We graduated. Went on to be a cop. Where I'm at today, we the same age. I'm 40. You 40. And when I look at them, it's like I look at my friends that I know, that I went to high school with, that we grew up in the same neighborhood, play at Ronin Park together, all that. And they police officers now. These motherfuckers is making $200 and something thousand a year. Why can't? How am I hating on that? You got you and your
hate
family up out the hood. Why am I mad? I'm mad because my dumb ass
Didn't
went and
go
did
that
something
route.
different. Like
Oh, man,
I'm looking at 200. Like what?
And I would tell people too is people don't always realize, like I had to realize this. We go so hard on like good cops, black and brown cops, they fight the same things we fight on the street.
Right.
In the same job that they do. Like, how do they get off being on the street? How do they become detectives? How do they get promotions? They don't, because they go through the same things
Shit
that
we
we
do.
talk about and when we go.
And
So
like I
like
told
they
you,
need
my-
our support as well.
Like my scrutiny that I was telling you, it's like with Jeff and them, and with Nora. Like I love Nora. That's family. Period. Like I don't care what she do. But there's people that's like in this work also that we're doing. where it's like where we're trying to, commute people's sentences, or we're trying to, talk about social injustice and things like that. And people think when we talk about social injustice, we always have to talk about F the police. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, like, cool. Like, I'm over that. Like, we've been screaming that since we was probably 10, 9 years old. But,
That's wrong.
So,
Anyways.
regardless of that, it's like, even for me, they're like, oh, well, Roe, like, fucking with the police. Like, you're saying it like somebody's telling. First of all, I'm not doing no crime. Not today. Not at all. Trust me. So I could care less. I don't even want to know if you're doing a crime.
Yeah.
Keep that over there. Because trust me, I don't want to be a victim,
be
witness,
connected.
suspect, nothing.
I don't want to get arrested. You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
nothing. I don't want to be a
'cause, for
suspect,
instance,
witness.
I've been arrested because I didn't tell. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And it's like, I
And
know
that's my
I'm not
thing with
gonna
those
tell.
people.
So I don't want
be in
to.
it.
Yeah,
But that's
like,
my
you know
thing
what
with
I'm saying?
those
I don't wanna,
people.
like, hold
Those
on,
people
man.
that
Like,
saying
take your
that-
own charge. Like, let me go over
but
here.
this is
You
my
know what I mean?
thing, Lean, and I'll show you these people. And the people that say that, they don't come from where we come from. They ain't got slammed on the hood by the police.
Right.
They ain't tough.
you-
So
you ain't
they
get the gun
none of
put-
that. Right.
put in your
You
face by the
Thank you.
police.
You don't had a best friend that got killed by the police. Let's talk about it,
Yeah.
right? These ain't those
R.I.P.
people.
to her, too.
Thank you. And these ain't those people. Those are us, right? Those are me. I'm those people. So at the end of the day, if I want to sit down with Nora to make a better environment for the kids in my community, so be it. If I want to sit with Nora, and guess what? Sit with Nora got me sitting with other officers, right? That are like, yo, I like what you're doing. We got 100 turkeys. You want to give it to the community?
Yeah.
We got this. And then it's like,
Yes, shout out to the turkeys from Thanksgiving.
yeah, and every year they've been blessing us, and we've been able to bless people that really need it.
Makes a difference.
Right.
It makes a difference.
No bullshit. And you know how many grandmothers we pull up to that are raising you know what I mean, the kids because
Grandkid, yeah.
the father or the mother's locked up or whatever's going on. Like, and us going out and bringing them a turkey because it's too cold or the pandemic, it meant a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then we bring so it's like, why would I? And on top of that, let's talk about where that relationship has gotten me. Like we said earlier, now we know each other. Now you know what Ro's about. Now you know Ro didn't really mean all those things. It's just her environment. Now you know Ro means well and want to change some things. So now we can
She's
sit at
not
the
a rap
table
sheet.
and I could change your mind on some things because I could be like, I get what you're saying, but check this out. What about little Dante that grew up in a crack house? And we can have a different conversation in a different dialect.
Right.
And also, for me now, when the police pull up to my people's house and we're sitting on the steps, being us, a whole family, we come from a deep cousins, like we're 100 of us, and they label us as gang members, and we literally all first cousins. Sitting there when the police come, guess what? I could pick up the phone and call Nora.
Yeah.
Like, Nora, it's me, no bullshit. You could pull up. We at Nana's house, and Nora knows, and she could be like, "They fine."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't get jacked, but no more.
Because
I don't none of that.
those relationships are key. Because
Right.
I always tell people, like, there's going to be things in the community that you're going to need police there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, like, when they come, it's better if they come in like, hey, Ro, how's everything going?
Exactly.
Like, is all this good? Like,
Right.
do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Rather than they come in, they don't
Right.
know anybody, it's aggressive, and then, like, we all know what that looks like.
Honestly,
That
it got
happens.
to a point that, shout out to him, and this is how we got cool. Joe, he was the head of gang unit. Joe, I think y'all met him.
I met him, yeah.
So me and Joe, you know how we met is in the community, me working at old spot where I was at. And I was working there, and one of the young kids, he was 14, he walked out. Well, he wasn't even from our school. He's from where Sin works at. The whatever, Compass.
Compass.
So he's walking up, 14-year-old, but it's a big kid. I didn't even know he was 14. I thought he was like 18. So the kid's, he's on boating, and gang unit jumps out on him. He was adjusting his belt. So they thought he had a gun on him. So they doing all that, and the kid's like, yo, what y'all doing? Like, I don't know. Going back and forth,
I
and they
don't like
going back
that.
and forth, and they arguing. And mind you, I'm walking across the street going to the store. I'm hearing them arguing. They won't let him go. I mean, you know what I mean? And he's going back and forth, and I just jumped in the middle of it. Like, something just told me to do it. And then plus, I knew two of the officers. Like, we went to high school together. Something made me do it. I just jumped in. I said, little bro, come with me real quick. Come on, it ain't even worth it. I'm like, chill before they lock you up.
Yeah.
No bullshit, he heard me. He walked with me. I'm like, yo, just chill, I got you. Come on. And when I walked him across the street, Joe came across the street and talked to me. I'm like, Joe, come on, the kid's 14. Y'all, he was like, nah, I'm glad you did that. No bullshit. We had a conversation, and it was cool.
But why is it always? They always think of something negative. You can't
And I'm
just
gonna be
fixing
honest
your
with you,
belt.
and that's what made me respect Joe.
And I'm like,
right
I
then
don't
and there,
understand
he
that.
admitted it. He said to the young man,
Because if
I
he was
apologize,
white-
I was wrong.
If he was white, they would have never thought he was reaching
Nah,
for something.
because you're on boating, to them it's community or this and that. They got guns, they got kids, but this is another thing that they're doing to our community, and this is something we're big on.
That could turn tragic.
Yeah, this is something we're big on too in our community. They're setting, and this is something Rachel Rollins, I'm glad she's touching on it now that she's the U.S. attorney. The school to prison pipeline is a new slavery. You know what I'm saying? Prison is slavery. That's where they sending our boys, our women to. And you got the federal system, right? You got kids in Dorchester, Roxbury, or whatever, and they bunching them up as gang RICO charges, things like that. And this is things that a lot of this, like some of the kids that I'm working with now, whatever, they went down. And like a lot of the stuff that they're getting charged with is shit that it's in district court could handle it. But now y'all let the feds pick it up. They gang members, they this and that. First of all, you bunching a bunch of kids who are probably not even down with each other.
Don't
just
even
cool.
know each other like
Right.
that.
No bullshit. But then here's the problem. Y'all shipping them out, right? They're 18 years old, 19. You're shipping them, give them 4 or 5 years. Now you're sending them to Big Sandy. You're sending them to, you know what I'm saying, like Canaan, Pennsylvania, things like that. They're going to these federal prisons, these penitentiaries and stuff. And now he's doing 4 or 5 years. He done got cool with somebody from New York, right? And the relationships that are being built are not positive. Because 4 or 5 years now, I met somebody in Virginia. I know somebody from Virginia that could give me the firearms.
And then what?
And then now I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna get my shorty to give me a rental.
Yep.
Right. My shorty gonna give me a rental. We're gonna drive down to I know this. This was our life.
Right.
We're gonna drive down to Virginia, and then you're gonna pick up whatever, you're gonna bring it to Boston, and y'all gonna make some money. Right? So you get a couple of $100 for each pistol, and there go your bread. But like you said, this kid doesn't see nothing outside of
He doesn't
Dorchester.
know that even exists.
He don't see nothing outside of where that red line go. So for me, it's hard to judge those kids because they don't know any better. How can you do better if you don't know better? You in the school system, we went to the Burke.
Don't say that. I went to West Roxbury.
went to the Burke.
I don't care about no Burke.
And that's
I
my
went to the
diploma.
Burke for 9th and 7th grade, but
that's why it's so important.
I went.
like,
That shit was like lean on me.
The work y'all do
Right.
is showing kids like, hey man, like I know this is where you live. Like me and my brother always talk about that. Like one of the biggest problems in communities is kids only see what's right outside their window.
Right.
So like you just said, you got an uncle that had PTSD or so like kids are like, I'm not going to serve. Like why would I go serve our country? Like I see he came home, he couldn't get no job.
Right.
He's struggling. All right, I don't want to do that. All right, I can't do this. All right, what do I see? I see this right in front of me.
Right.
So this is the only thing that I know that I can do. And like,
And you telling me I could go overseas to bang for America? So I'm going to stay in America and bang for my projects or bang for my hood? Like, that's what they... And then
And then a lot of times these people grew up together, so it's not really. The media
It's a
might say it's a
loyalty.
gang,
Right.
but you're not looking at it like a gang. You're
not.
looking at it like these are my friends.
Right.
We live over here. We not repping
From
no
over
gang,
there,
but
right.
y'all saying this is the gang, and we, you know what I'm saying? We all grew up together, so we're gonna have each other's back, like teammates, sort of like police officers having each other's back. And another thing, but I wanted to touch on with the police officers too, that they don't hold themselves accountable. A lot of them. That's the problem. Like when one commit a crime and they know it's wrong against, say, a black kid or something, they try to cover it up. And it's like, oh, they don't say nothing. They got this blue wall of silence, you know what I'm saying? And then, but yet you might be outside and something happens, has nothing to do with you. They want you to tell. And if you don't tell, they're pressuring you, they're locking you up, they want you to do this, and you ain't even involved with the crime, but they don't follow suit for themselves. I'm like, they got a different, you know what I'm saying? They don't hold themselves accountable, and that's kind of like crazy to me. So that's why their relationship with the community is kind of like fucked up, really. You know what I'm saying?
But I like the injustice that you...
Yeah, I seen you on the news.
That you and call on. Like, even with... We're going to get to the court, like, the post-conviction stuff, but even, like, when you called on homeboy, Trump. And, you know, you shouted out, you talked about Boston, right? And it's like, that feels good to me because you're from New York. You could have been always like, and I know you give it to New York, but like you always think of us too. You know what I mean? And I know for you it was important to get connected to like the Bobby Brown Boston, you know?
Yeah, right.
So it was important for you to get connected to that. And like, that was important to me. Me knowing that, it was a dope feeling. And then it wasn't just words. You so many people talk and so many people get on the platform because, like, we see so many celebrities talk about these injustices, but we don't actually see them on the front line. Like, people don't even know, like, you visited Massachusetts state prisons. Like, you've sat with these guys that you're helping and asking to commute their sentences and stuff like that. And one, like, that's so important because you get to meet the people that you're actually fighting for, and not just the crime that they may have committed or what they've been accused of, or we, as we see in so many cases, wrongly convicted, but you actually get to meet the people. And, like, can you talk like the importance of that and, like, even the feels that you get when you walk in those prison walls?
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes we get caught up in race, and, Matt Slater always reminds me, like, just humans. Like, we're all, you got to see people and you got to see their human side. And I know, me and my brother, I guess this was maybe 2 or 3 years ago, the peace unit out here in Boston, young
Yes.
men in jail, but they're getting released in, in the
But
next 18
can I
months.
say what that is real quick? Because a lot of people don't even know, which is crazy.
The peace what?
The peace
Peace
unit.
unit.
It's a unit that they created in South Bay, which was pretty dope. It was awesome. I got to visit. But the peace unit is in South Bay, and it's for 18 to 24-year-olds. And while they're in there, so the unit is created where they have more leisure than anyone else in South Bay. Okay. I mean, they can't be in there wilding out because you'll get transferred to the second unit. Yep. But they have so much programming. They're not locked in all the time.
But
and
South
they're
Bay
not.
is gladiator school.
No, but again, the peace unit is different. So 18 to 24, you want PlayStation, you want phone time.
Okay.
They got,
me and my brother went up there, and you
it's
can
not
see
COs. It's staff.
You went to South Bay and you went up there. The living conditions.
No, but he visited the peace unit, not other.
Do they have rodents in there? Because
like you said, I
South
went to
Bay
the
is like
peace unit.
infested with mice.
No, but he
I
didn't.
went
He
to the
only
peace
visited
unit,
the peace
so-
unit.
and then
It's
we-
different.
But where's that out in South Bay?
It's South Bay. It's
South
in the
Bay?
towers.
But we
no,
weren't-
but it's different.
We weren't
They
in the living
remodeled the whole-
space. We
yeah.
weren't in the living spaces either. Like, we was in, like, the open community, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, meeting.
So
with
basically,
them.
what they did is knock down one floor in the towers, and trust me, they just did it all over. It got
Okay, Miss
thing on the
South Bay,
wall,
go
so-
ahead, tell us.
No, it's like it got the artist thing on the wall and all that, so it's different. It's not a unit.
And I just thought it was unique because, like you said, we went in there as a young man. He was like, I think he was like 22 or 23. And he told us, he was like, man, like, being in here is kind of cool. He said, because, like, when I leave here, I got to worry about everything. Like, I got to go back on my aunt's couch. I can't speak to any convicted felons, but that's only people I know. He said,
We
like,
gotta change that
he said,
law,
when
too.
I'm here, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, yo, this kid's 23.
Yeah, that's
And, like, he thinks his best chance of living is in jail.
Yeah.
I was like, just think about that, like, the process of hope. And then another kid read a poem, dope poem. And I'm like, bro, you ever think that, like, that's what you want to do? And he's kind of like, what you mean? Like, what? Like, how am I going to do this?
Right.
And I think, like, to go, you know what I mean? I think me and my brother was there for like 2 hours, just sitting there rapping, talking about our childhood, talking about other. And then we did it again this year via Zoom with the whole team, getting to talk to, and, like, to hear a couple guys in the peace unit, and then to hear a couple of our players tell damn near the exact same stories
Right.
of childhood,
Right.
but how one thing happened.
One thing.
And it
Change
changed.
everything.
And, like, so that's why I think it's so important. Like, like we were talking about William Allen's sentence getting commuted. Like, I talked to him back in April of 20, I think it was, or 21, was the first time we ever talked. And we're on a Zoom call, and we're just talking and rapping, and, like, it finishes. You forget. I forget I'm talking to somebody that's in prison. Right. Like, we just talking and rapping. I'm just like, yo, this dude, like, very similar to you. All he talked about was, like, how he wants to help kids not go down the same path, have a better, like, that's all he talked about. And then he ended it with, he was like, man, whether I get out of here someday or I don't, it's not going to change that I want to help people. Right. So if I help people only in here, then that's what I do. If I get out and I get to help other people, and I was like, man, I got to help this guy get out. Like, he's gonna be a positive influence
in the
to
community.
a lot of people, So I think it's so important, though, to get to know people, to get to know their why, get to know, like, what it is they want to do in life. Like, I think your purpose, I think you can see it when you talk to somebody, they're not doing a job, they're not working. Right. Like, when you see somebody's purpose, like, they light up about it. in the Bible, you talk about, you know what I mean, what is a talent and what is a gift from God. And, you know, your talent is what you might do. Like, I play football. Like, God's blessed me to be talented in that way. But the gifts he gives me, that's what I do off the field. Like, when you see me doing those things, I could have stayed up with my kid till 4 o'clock in the morning. He crushed me. But when I get to go into the community and do those things, you can be like, man, this dude always happy. He always, because, like, that's my gift. Like, when I'm around people, like, that's truly what I feel like my purpose is here on earth.
So, out of all the things, the charities and organizations, which one are you most proud of?
I say it's two things, because I say the growth as a person. So the first thing was always sickle cell, because as a kid, I watched my aunt. So like I said, my dad passed away when I was young, when I was 3 years old. My dad actually was a twin, but my uncle and my dad.
Your dad was a twin?
Yeah, fraternal twin. My uncle and my dad's relationship wasn't great. Yeah. So my uncle moved to Virginia. I saw my uncle probably like 3 times my entire life. So my aunt, though, lived like 5 minutes away, and my aunt would pull up all the time. Like, she was Jehovah's Witness, so she didn't celebrate birthdays, Christmas, and all that. But she would buy us stuff. She would fly us down to Florida to go see our grandparents once they retired and moved down there. So, like, my aunt was my only connection to my dad. Like, I felt like she wanted to fulfill some of those things. You know what I mean? So when I got into college and I used to watch my aunt, she'd call us and she'd be, I'm in the hospital again. Like, you know, then she went legally blind and she was on oxygen 24/7. Like, sickle cell gets in your body and it just starts tearing down your organs. So watching that and, like, getting to the NFL and starting to, like, doing stuff. And then, you know, a couple years ago, you know, the guy that helps us do stuff was like, man, we've raised over $1.5 million. And I was like, what? Like, it just blew my mind. And, like, my aunt, anytime I used to talk to her, she would just be so proud, because for her, she saw all of the family members through her life that had sickle cell, other people. So she was like, man, what y'all are doing, people don't do. Right. So that was definitely, and then as I got older, really like 2016, 17, when I was like, man, like, I can't keep tweeting about social justice stuff. Like, I gotta go do. Right. This just stuff that I've done over the couple years that I've been able to be a part of, like when Governor Baker commuted William Allen's sentence, like, this man was in prison for 27 years. Right. Like, 27 years, and he has life without the possibility of parole. And the governor just said, like, man, we're gonna commute your sentence. Like, for me, I couldn't fathom like his feeling
amazing.
of being, you know what I mean?
That's great work.
And that's big, because they haven't commuted someone sentenced in Massachusetts in 25 years. And then, you know, and Governor Baker hasn't.
It's a great tool to use. It's not saying that, you know what I mean, we messed up as the state and this dude or this woman didn't commit this crime. No, it's saying as a state, you know, this guy, he was a part of an armed robbery. You know, the other man did the killing.
And he's home, right?
He didn't do it. The man's been out for 11 years.
Yeah, the one that did it.
Yes, so it's saying.
How'd that happen? Because the man that did it,
he took the deal.
Okay.
So, but it's just saying, man, as a state and as a country, we failed with these laws.
And my thing is he still going to be on, like, lifetime parole? He shouldn't be. Yep. Because how is the other man? He's not on lifetime parole, right? Yep. And he's the one that actually.
But they look at it like he took the deal and you took it to trial. You waste our money, shoot, you gonna pay.
The other guy took the deal, but he didn't tell though, right? Did he?
No, he just took a plea.
Yeah, he just took a plea. Okay.
He pleaded down. He just pleaded the second degree instead of first degree.
So I don't understand that. That's kind of that is backwards. We got to fix these laws.
But think about this. So the only reason William Allen went to prison for life without possibility of parole is because of joint venture felony. Yeah. If we commit a felony together, whatever happens, we're both on the hook for it. Right. They changed the law in 2017. But when they changed the law, they said no one could get grandfathered. Right. They can't go back.
That's crazy.
Like, why would you say that? Like, how many cases?
If you feel like the law is wrong, then you change it.
If you change it, let's take time and go through these cases.
Right.
But you that's like in Massachusetts.
But you know why? Because it doesn't affect them.
But it's in Massachusetts. Here. But honestly, we don't publicize these cases neither to get our community like in that.
Yeah,
and
because when I hear it, I'd be like, damn, did you hear this? Yeah. Me and her go over stories. Like, yo, did you hear this?
That's why it was so unique that I jumped on this. Yeah. They probably wouldn't have did it without, you know what I mean? Like, I jump on it. I presented to the team. I want to say thank you. I presented to the team. Like, me being on it, it was like, all right, I know Governor Baker was probably like, here, here goes this dude again. Like he's always into something.
Yeah.
You just
know
trying to
what I
get all
mean?
the black people out of
Right.
jail.
You know, but like once Kraft got on it, and then
Right.
Bill signed a letter, it was like,
Right.
man, he got the big hitters in behind it. Now it was different.
I want to go back to the sickle cell thing real quick. I want, sickle cell is kind of like near and dear to me because my friend, he just passed away from sickle cell as we was talking off camera. My friend D, we call him D, but Dedrick, he was always happy. But you're not knowing like the stuff that he's going through at the time.
Can't
And then
see it.
I didn't expect him to, be gone so soon, But he was 44. He would have been 45 March 21st. He's my oldest son's godfather. And I known him since I was in 3rd grade.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I've been through so much trauma, it's kind of like, but then it just hit me. Because Wednesday, I went to the Celtics game. Shout out to Rose. She gave me tickets to the Celtics game. So before I went to the game.
I didn't buy them. They was
Before I went to the game, I always turn them down too. But before I went to the game, I went to visit him in the hospital. Because his cousin, she hit me up, said he's in the hospital or whatever. And then I'm like, okay, I hit his mom. She's like a mother to me because like when I moved from that neighborhood, like around my way where I hang at or whatever, when I was growing up, I was always at his house. And, you know what I'm saying? And she fed us. She, you know what I'm saying? She let us have girls over and stuff like that. She was even talking about it last night.
The cool mom.
Like she like, yeah, because she like, she had a, he had a younger brother. So she be like, y'all got to watch him. I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right. But I think that's big of you, you know what I'm saying, to be a part of that sickle cell. And shout out to D. I love you, man. You know?
And sickle cell.
Sorry for your loss.
Yeah,
My
definitely,
condolences.
man. Sickle cell kind of brought me to the social justice stuff because with sickle cell, like your friend, I'm sure, when you have sickle cell, you get different crisis pains.
Right.
And when you're a kid, it's fine, but then you transition to the adult hospital.
Yeah.
So now imagine somebody that looks just like you and me. And they go in there, they're 23 years old, and they're like, yo, I need a pain pill because my leg, like I'm in a crisis. They're like, no, you're a drug addict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're a young black person
And then
coming
you
in that
asking
look
for it.
fine.
Yeah.
So I remember when I started to learn about this with sickle cell, and you start to think, sickle cell affects about 100,000, primarily African Americans in the United States every year. It's like, nobody donates to that. It only affects black people.
Right.
It's not cancer. It's not, you know what I mean? And not to say those things aren't important, but I always think it's important, as a black person, that like I support something that deals with our people, like especially something that's underrepresented, underfunded. Like people don't do these things, and that's why I said that has been something that's blown me away to be a part of because so many parents and stuff struggle because sickle cell is passed down from your parents. So like back in the day, like my grandparents, they had, I think it was my grandfather's brother, their kids had sickle cell. They came to the house, they're talking about dealing with sickle cell. My grandparents never said that my aunt and uncle had sickle cell. Yeah. They just kept it a secret.
It was a secret.
It was so taboo. So I've loved talking about it, bringing awareness. I think it's made a huge impact on people's lives, dealing with sickle cell.
Getting back to the William Allen situation. So I'm assuming you don't believe in life sentences?
No, I don't think you should ever go to life without the possibility of parole or anything.
Cause I don't either. I'm beyond.
Not if jail's supposed to rehabilitate you.
Yeah, and it's not.
And then my thing is, it's different circumstances. We obviously we're not talking about the craziest, egregious things or whatever. But
and that's what people think.
I'm thinking
when you say
right
that.
away.
Yeah. So it's not like
No one's talking about Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yes.
But again,
different circumstances like juvenile. How can you? I can't understand that.
Yeah.
I can't fathom that. 16, 17,
14.
It's like, what? 14, like 30,
15.
Life? I'm like, what? These kids don't even know what's going on.
What hurts me more is like, and you're seeing this more and more now doing this work is, for me, what's hurting me more is like, we all know a friend or two that's in jail for something they didn't do, right? But then when you're doing this work, you meet more and more of those people. There are so many people in jail, like the brother William, who I was just there. I didn't know he was gonna pull out a knife, or I didn't know he was gonna shoot that person.
Yeah, there's a
or
lot
you
of
have
people
those that didn't do it at all.
that didn't
wasn't
do it.
there.
Wasn't there. Didn't have no involvement with the crime, and they got
Yeah.
convicted. And you're like, how the hell that happened? Like, you know, when they had the, you know, 2004, 2003, something like that, when a lot of people came home because
Yeah.
of the officer was framing people, withholding evidence, paying people to testify.
And we
I'm
still
like,
have some of
what?
those officers today that's sitting
And
on
y'all-
pensions that
And y'all
we have
will
guys
protect
in
that
jail.
till the fullest,
Yeah.
and still, like, the police officers union was still or whatever protect that.
We just saw that-
That's a whole
And
nother
it's like, huh? Y'all are protecting
We just saw that in one of the you did a forum with him with Sean Ellis, but we saw that in the Trial 4. Like even in the Trial 4
Watching that,
documentary,
yeah, it's crazy.
Like
Shout out
the
to Sean
office,
Ellis.
yeah, and
That's
I'm
crazy.
grateful that he's home for him, like and his family. But the police was still sitting there, like, well, yeah, he did it.
Yeah,
Like
they not
with
changing
all
that.
this in front of you, you're not.
It's like something's wrong with this officer.
But then,
clearly,
but then it brings me back to the exonerated 5. Same thing. They was all like, no, well, they said, and it's
People
like,
still ain't
dude,
changed
y'all
that.
made it up.
right.
I think that's like even, you know, going through these commutations, I think the heartbreaking thing about it is like, you know, you see 2 guys get their sentence commuted and you're like, man, somebody was like, yeah, I think there's like 16 or 1,700 commutation cases waiting across the country.
Yeah.
And like you get 2 people out and you're like, man, there's so many other people that have stories
Did you
just
see
like this.
what I just read this morning? Like Rachel Rollins is working on a gentleman's case, a black man who's been incarcerated for I think it's over 20 years, 25 years or something. And a little bit older than that, don't quote me. But she's looking into his sentence because now the victim, a white woman, is coming forward like, I really don't even think he's the one who did it. Like I misidentified him. So this man sat in prison. I don't care if it was a month. Like,
Yeah, no.
you know what I mean? And for us, like, think of 20 years. We had kids. We got married.
How much life you miss.
But what do you give these people when they come back home? Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My bad.
My bad. Go back to your life.
You got to try to file and sue for different money, and like even that, what is that? That's not going to change
not
anything,
nothing.
Right.
You know.
What about the things that you endured in there, the things that you witnessed? What about the people who spent time in segregation? You know what I mean? Just different things like
And
that.
not only
It
that,
changes
the
you.
lives that was affected by it, like you
Right.
going to jail,
Your kids.
everybody
Yep.
else,
Right.
and then your kids went down this path, and they end up committing crimes.
Right.
They affected other lives.
Yeah.
William
You know what I'm
Allen's
saying? It's
William
like,
Allen's
yo.
son is in jail,
See what I'm
See?
saying?
hoping to get released in like he said 2023 or 2024.
Let's lighten the mood. Football. Let's get back to football. Who's your favorite teammate and why?
Favorite teammate of all time, obviously other than my brother, is Matthew Slater.
Okay.
He's been like a mentor to me, been like a big brother mentor.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good guy. Is he still on the team? He's still on the team. He's been
About to be-
special teams,
Joke
everything.
about to
He's
be
like,
37, still
yeah,
playing.
he's like I want to say like a Troy Brown, like a longtime Patriot.
You know what
I'm
you're gonna
saying?
get.
Yeah, like he's been good for us too. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Matthew Slade. He was a captain too, right?
Yeah. We've been the captain.
You captain
same
too?
amount of
Okay.
years. Yeah. He's been great for me because, like we talked about earlier, raising your kids. His dad played in the NFL for 20 years, Pro Football Hall of Famer, and like we talk about growing up in the hood and different things. Like Slade grew up around mostly all white people.
Yeah.
So like,
I'm gonna be honest.
like,
He talked like it.
And,
You know what
but
I'm
you would
saying? So I'm
think like, man, you had it good.
Yeah.
And then you start to think, and you was like, nah,
No.
bro, dude was always that guy.
Yeah.
He was always the guy they picked on. He was always the guy they talked about.
'Cause he's in that neighborhood.
Because he was the, you know what I mean? So I always try to relate to different things and learn, like, man, just because someone didn't go through like things you went through and it was different, it's still kind of traumatizing. Like some people in his position, they grew up hating white people because they just like they had no reason to treat me like this.
Right.
You want to know something? When I was younger, right? I was kind of fucked up mentally too because, like I said, my grandmother was in the nation. My mom, so they had strong like beliefs too. But when I was younger, I wouldn't eat vanilla cookies. It had to be chocolate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was fucked up. So even when I first saw basketball,
Yep.
my mom was going for the Celtics, and I couldn't understand it.
'Cause of
That's
who
the
you see on
home
the
team.
court.
I see all white people. I'm like, Mom, how you going for them? I'm going for the Lakers. They the black team. Like they got all the black players. I'm like, you going. I was fucked up mentally, you know what I'm saying? Then I didn't know it until I got older, you know what I'm saying?
To truly like fully understand it.
Yeah, now I'm like, damn, I look back like, damn, that was kind of crazy, you know what I'm saying?
I always think it's interesting too, back in the day, like when you just think about like even like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and like, I try to.
Malcolm X is one of my favorites.
I try to look at
Hands
stuff like
down.
that and I'd be like, man, I wonder like what I would have thought back then.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you take religion out of it, you know what I mean? Take whatever Christianity actions you do or Muslims that are being Muslim, and you just think about like what they were saying and how they were fighting and different things. You like watching the Malcolm X documentaries on Netflix, but even watching the joint on Bunky Johnson on Epix, Godfather of Harlem.
Yeah, I watched that too.
You be sitting there and you're like, yo, this is interesting, man, because like
The guy that played him
bang
did a
what
great
Malcolm's
job.
saying right now. Like he talking some, you know
He
what
talking
I mean?
some stuff.
It's a very interesting. Like
Yes.
I try to think back at that time, and even watching One Night Only joint that they did with
I seen
Muhammad
that.
Ali
Yeah.
fought Sonny
no, I didn't see that. I thought you saw him with the Oh no, that was called The Night Of. But go ahead.
Regina King
Okay,
produced
One Night
this.
Only. I didn't see that one.
It was Sam Cooke, Muhammad Ali, Jim
I gotta
Brown.
give you my Prime account.
They was all
I
like they
got
was
Prime.
chilling that night, and it was like they're trying to talk to Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X. Malcolm X is trying to get Muhammad like, bro, you're a world champ, but like there's a fight going on. Like you need to, and like I'm watching, I'm like, and I'm not Muslim, I don't know much about, but I'm like, yo, Malcolm X was spitting some truth, you know what I mean?
So
He did.
there's a fight going on now, even like with Brian Flores. Do you think it's gonna be like a Colin Kaepernick situation where, because he spoke up, he's not gonna get back?
Oh yeah, I think he like you look at the Houston Texans job, fired David Culley after 1 year. Josh McCown seemed like he was going to be the favorite, no coaching experience, so they pivot in a different direction and they hire Lovie Smith, who was a defensive coordinator. So, and the GM over there is Nick, who I love. Nick,
Who hired Lovie Smith? Houston?
the Texans.
Okay,
did.
okay.
And I think
okay.
that would have been Flo's job.
Right.
I think Flo gets that job. But like I tell people all the time, the NFL is not 32 individuals trying to win Super Bowls.
Yeah.
It's 32, and the Green Bay is different because they have a different kind of setup with their ownership. But it's basically 32, call it, groups of people who decide, hey, we have the National Football League. How do we get it from X amount of money to this amount of money? That is the primary goal.
Right.
So what
It's all
do they
about the
do?
money.
If you attack the league, you attack them. So they come together and they be like, yo, Brian Flores, he's done here.
Yeah.
He's done here. Like, if you do that, they're going to try to make sure whichever owner, for prime example, Michael Sam comes out, first gay guy, enters the draft, doesn't get drafted. Rams pick him up as a free agent. You think the league wanted that? Dude won SEC Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. He didn't get drafted.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Why not even take a chance on him with a 7th round pick?
Right.
But this is what I truly believe. And like I said, I have a great relationship with Mr. Kraft. We've talked about cap situation, and he tells me all the times that we didn't blackball him. And I'm like, it looks like you blackballed him.
Right.
Whether y'all sent the email,
Yeah.
I said, I don't know. I said, but like, you can't tell the average person who looks in and sees all. I said, Kraft is just look at all the bums that are playing quarterback.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I said, you turn on the TV, you watch bum after bum play
As far as
quarterback.
Kaepernick, right?
I said,
I think
so
he was
why wouldn't
blackballed.
Cap get a job? You know what I mean? I said, why wouldn't he get a job?
Old
I
people
thought he was
coming
coming
in
to the
playing.
Patriots.
Like, and
Yeah,
that's what I said. There's certain teams he probably didn't fit on, but like 1 year Washington signed Mark Sanchez, who hadn't played in like years, and they had like 3 quarterbacks
Mark
get hurt.
Sanchez.
And it was like,
I could think of a few quarterbacks.
there was quarterback, like at this point, like Mark Sanchez, and not to discredit his career, but at this point he was done.
Yeah.
But he came back in and he was just out there.
Yeah.
And it's like, but like, I'm telling you, the league, they know like, hey, we're just not signing this guy.
Did you kneel during that time?
In 2017, kneeled against the Houston Texans.
My God.
You kneel. And that was the thing. Like I told people, like I kneeled for one game. And like in the beginning, I never wanted to kneel because my personal feeling, I felt like the conversation became about kneeling. And I've had this conversation with a lot of people. I said, who are we trying to help? Because if we just like, I forgot who my brother was talking to. And he
You
was
said
like,
2017?
Yeah.
And that's when you started doing a lot of the work you're doing. Okay.
And somebody told my brother, he was like, I was mad at Cat. Don't keep kneeling. We need your voice. Now, Cap was different because Cap got to be out of the league and his voice got bigger.
Yeah.
For a lot of us, that don't happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if I would have got out of the league, no one would have cared what I thought.
No.
And that's what I felt like. I was like, as players, like, we took a knee. Now people listening.
Yeah.
Ownership donating money. Like, people here, like, tell them the stories now because it's not about us.
Yeah.
It's not about Cap. Yeah. It's about the communities that we're in.
Right.
So, like, if this becomes about the owners talking to us, what do we need to do to get you to play? That's not the problem. We want them to know about the communities, what's going on in those communities. We want them to talk to people like you. We not talk to me. Like, I'm playing for the Patriots. Like, I didn't grow up in Boston. I don't know that stuff. Yeah. I want to be the connection point. And that's why I was like, we took a knee. Now people hate us, but they listening. They watching. Everybody watched my press conference.
And I don't want to talk about it, but I want to say that something happened in our community. It had nothing to do with you. I don't know how you heard about it, but I know you reached out to me to check on me, most importantly, and to get my side of the story, and to see how you could fit in and help me and others, because it wasn't just me that was going through that. And like I said, I could go on, but that meant so much because you didn't have to do that. Right? But then it showed us the real in you. Like, you really meant everything that you said from day one when I met you. And, and you stood on that. And I appreciate you. I love you for that. You know what I mean? I feel forever loyal, grateful, because little things like that matters to us because people don't speak up for us. Right, wrong, or different. You know how many people would be like, oh, yeah, well, they'll be all right. You know what I mean? They'll figure it out. They'll be all right.
I gotta go to practice.
But they don't understand, not even just an athlete, just the average day person didn't stand up for us. And you did that. You took the time out. You did that. It not just for me, but Kenny and, other people. It meant a lot to us. You know what I mean? Because even for me and him, when we spoke after, it was yo, did this dude just call me? I remember when you called me, I was heated. I was like... And you was like,
and I know how mad she can be.
Oh, no. But then, but even when we got on the phone, it was peace. You know what I mean? Because even when you was like, I just want to check on you. So when we got on the phone, I was just like, man, this what happened. And it was cool. And at the end of that,
is that what happened?
I texted her and I was like, yeah, yo, Devin McCourty, you know what I mean? We met and we was talking, I don't know everything that's happening in here, but I was just like, I talked to these people. I don't want to assume everything they said that happened.
That's real.
You know what I mean? It was just and to me, that's just common sense. You a person just like they're a person. It don't matter what their position is, your position. What you think happened? You know what I mean? How you feel about the situation? You know what I mean? And that's all it was. You know what I mean?
Right. And real, I'm not to take away from nobody. We all have rights and wrongs. We all have indifferences. We all have whatever. I mean, for me, I'm passionate about my community. And I mean what I say. And on top of it, my integrity is everything. And I will never compromise my integrity for the check, for anything. So, and I stand on that. And when we speak up, this is my problem too with society. It's when we speak up, we speak up. There's so many injustice that people from my community that I faced and still face, and that's with community organizations. There's different systems. I'm now learning that a nonprofit business is a whole system within itself. I'm I'm thinking here I am, throwing my story out here. This is a woman who came from all of that we talking about, everything that we fighting today. All that changed my life around, giving back to so many people. I've done so much, right? And I don't want nothing. I just want my peoples to pay it forward. But, and then here I am, and I'm thinking and then I'm like, all right, bump that. We could start our own shit. We start our own shit, and now we begging for dollars that belong to our community. I'm using my money. So many people don't even know that. For so many years, I used my own money up until a New York organization, they nationwide, national, it's an organization for formerly incarcerated women. They saw my vision. They saw my thing. They believed in it. They saw my work ethics, and they donated. And then it took... y'all, the little locker team, every time y'all see me do a project, that means a lot. Because it could be, to y'all might feel oh, this is just a couple of dollars or whatever, but that fed X amount of people. You know what I mean? I was able to go grocery shopping for these people. When Jonathan Jones, shout out to Robin. She plugged me with him or whatever, and him and a couple other guys who I don't know because I only met him to get the check. And, you know, they gave me a check to help the young men that I was working through Operation Exit who went through the program, got the job, and, you know, they needed boots. Or we went to Kaha and balled out at Kaha on the Patriots dime. Like, but
Shout out to Patriots.
yeah, like the continuous work that y'all do, like you, Jonathan. I got videos on my phone of Wise, and he's breakdancing with a bunch of little kids, and this big giant is in the middle of the thing spinning. Like, and mind you, he's getting up in the kid's face like, you next. Like,
we got some good dudes. I mean, to me, that's the best part of, you know what I mean, my 12 years is we have some, like,
years?
yeah.
Wow.
We have some, like,
vet,
genuine good dudes, man, that, like, I live here and I want to be a part of the
Are
community.
you gonna like even when you retire, you gonna stay here? Or?
No,
You're always welcome
I
here.
live in Jersey, but I'll always be connected to
You're
y'all.
always
man,
welcome
don't leave
here.
us,
Like, me and
man.
my
Oh,
wife
so-
are thinking about, like, keeping a spot here.
Okay,
Like,
so you
Definitely.
got Jersey.
Yeah.
Okay.
You always welcome here.
Well,
But if you go to Jersey, can you commit? You know me, I am football, then that's your business. But can you commit to continue
to work.
to do the work that we
Yeah, I'll
have?
always do that.
yeah.
There's no
Thank
doubt
you,
about it.
man. We
And I
appreciate
appreciate
you, man,
Yeah,
for real.
no
And
doubt.
it just for Boston itself, we don't really like. And you got, you don't. I respect you for that too. Like, you don't like to be called a celebrity. You don't see yourself as a celebrity. But for us, you're a celebrity. And when you have a celebrity voice on it, like you said, it means so much because now they're hearing you out. And you have a voice that, your voice, you said it, you know, it's not a Kaepernick, but it's bigger than mine. You know what I mean? My voice is big in this state, it's big in this city, but when you speak about something, it may capture somebody in Jersey, you know, and other people that could help. And, you know, you might be that bridge to the gap where, to the funders or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, or to Kraft to be like, hey, check them out and see what they're doing over here. So, you know, all that means a lot. I could never thank you enough.
Let me ask you this, right? So you play for the Patriots, and when you retire, are you rooting for the Cowboys or the Patriots?
Oh, no, I've been dropped the Cowboys.
Oh,
that
okay,
was
okay.
as a kid. That was as a kid.
Okay.
I'm
I wanna
I'll
know
be a
because,
Patriot.
because you know when they retire, it's like, do you go back to your childhood team? Or, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know, because like
that question.
even for me, like it turns into people. You know what I mean? Like Josh McDaniels on the Raiders now. Like if I retired and he's still on the Raiders, I'm gonna bang with the Raiders at a certain, because I know.
Shout out
you
to
know
Josh
what I mean?
McDaniels. He's been here for a while, but I'm gonna be honest, I thought he was overrated. I'm a harsh critic. I'm gonna keep it real.
It
I'm
don't
like,
matter how many Super Bowls you win around here.
Nah, that was Tom.
I'm telling
that
you,
was
Boston-
Tom and Bill.
Boston's
what I'm saying?
tough.
I felt like I gotta ask you this. My guy, I gotta ask you this. I was mad at Bill Belichick too for the Super Bowl against the Eagles.
Malcolm Butler. We still don't know why.
You don't know why?
Yo, my guy retired last year too.
I was just
man.
having an argument.
Isn't he young?
Yeah, he's younger than me.
Yeah, I was having an argument with my cousin about this yesterday. Cause he's a Patriots all the way. It don't matter what you do. And I'm like, nah. Belichick was wrong. He's like, yo, he got us all these rings. I'm like,
Yep, they don't
I don't
care.
care what you say. If it's for the team, you got to do what's best for the team. Nah, he was breaking curfew. I said, those are
That's
lies.
what I hated, because
so I'm
and
like, those are
maybe-
lies. Those ain't true. That
Maybe
ain't true.
I don't know, and like credit to
Missed a team flight or something. I'm like, what?
credit to if Malk was late and him and Bill knew about it and they never spoke about it to anybody else. I was a captain. Like I feel like I usually know a lot that goes on.
And you didn't.
I've never heard, like I've heard so many like rumors and BS about like what Malcolm did the night before the game. And I've never heard anybody in our building talk about him being late to some. So like I felt like all of that came up and people started making it up.
They're
because
running with it.
Nobody in our building said anything from it. Malcolm never spoke about anything. Us as players, we didn't know. Like, I was expecting him to play in the game. So, like, nobody, like I told people this one, him and Bill might know something that none of us know. They've never told him. Even the next year, we start off, me and Flo meet, because Flo's like, yo, I don't want what happened in the Super Bowl to have a lasting effect in this season. I said, well, then what happened? He was like, I don't know.
That's crazy to me because I as a player, I know y'all was upset, but me as a fan, I was heated because I'm like, okay, you say you do what's best for the team, but at halftime, clearly this ain't best for the team. We got to make adjustments.
At halftime.
At halftime.
They made an adjustment. I was like, yo, what we talking about? Why we not putting Malcolm in?
And I'm
And
like,
nobody said, like, they was just like, yo,
As a
Bill.
captain, do they listen to you?
To a certain extent. Like I always tell, Bill starts off every captain meeting at the beginning of the year. He goes, my job here is like, I want to meet with you guys to get your opinion, to get a vibe of the team. But ultimately, like, I'm going to always do what's best for the team. So, like, you know what I mean? And he's in charge. So, like, I get it. Like, if I'm in charge of something, I want to hear everybody. But, like, I'm not going to go down doing something that I didn't think was right in the beginning. You know what I mean?
so my thing is with that situation with Butler, right? I'm like, okay, at halftime, make an adjustment, put Butler back in the game. Tom Brady set the Super Bowl record for passing yards.
That is
like,
the
are
most.
you kidding me?
That is
I
the
was
game
heated.
that I hate the most because, like, Tom had 505 yards passing, and we lost strictly. Like, to lose a game strictly because, like, how you play on defense, it sucks. That's why I love the next year when we won the Super Bowl 13-3.
Because
it was, you know what I mean?
And the Eagles, even they said they were shocked.
Yeah.
I said, man, who was over there? Was that Rowe? Who was who was the
Start? It was E-Row and Gilly.
Oh, I thought you said row. I'm like,
No,
what?
no. R-O-W-E. Not
But I will say,
Who?
Rowe gets a bad rap. He didn't play bad in that game.
He sound like me.
He gets a bad rap. He
Man,
did.
whose fault is it then? Is it?
As a defense, we gave up 463 yards. That ain't one player.
Yeah, but that one player was getting torched over there.
We got torched. We got torched as a
I wanna
defense.
know
LeGarrette Blount ran wild, so when you can't stop the run, now you got to play everything.
Yeah, but he knew us. You know what I'm saying?
What that mean?
So
we
he
play against players that know
he
us all
probably
the
said,
time.
"I know what y'all gonna do. I know your moves."
Nah, we played them the next year in Detroit. He ain't do anything.
Yeah, but
we
he-
sucked as a defense.
Bill, you owe us one. I don't care what he says. You owe us one. You cost us a championship, man.
Bill ain't listening to this.
I don't care, Bill. I'm mad.
Bill
You know what
taking
I'm
care of
saying?
his
Get that
grandkids.
snippet.
Because
He not gonna care what he talking
Bill,
about.
I'm mad you cost us a
ain't gonna care what he
championship
talking
because
about.
we should have not lost to
Bill
the
taking care of his
Philadelphia Eagles.
grandkids.
Tom Brady set the
Tell
record.
you, I'm telling
on.
you, Bill somebody I'll be cool with.
Bill, like, man, you better look at them 6 rings I got
Right.
in the closet.
One last question, right?
Right.
When Tom left, how did you feel? Did you know it was coming?
So
But
I'll
y'all
say
were
this.
close.
Yeah, I'll say this. Like, I'm still cool with TB, but I'll say when he didn't re-sign before free agency opened up, it was kind of
Because
like
then the rumor started to spread.
it was kind of like it's a
Selling
good
his
chance.
house.
It's a good chance he's leaving.
Yeah.
Especially like when he went to Tampa, I was like, they got a lot of talent. I get it. Like,
And then Gronk went and joined
you know
him.
what I mean? Like, I get it. And people were more mad at Gronk.
Why?
Because Gronk retired.
But
And
he
they was
came
like, yo, he quit on the team and then came back. And to me, I always tell people, you don't play. You don't know what it takes to mentally and physically play a whole season. Like, to tell a guy he should stay in New England his whole career, why? You don't know what he's going through. You don't know what it meant for forget him as a player and winning Super Bowl. You don't know what it meant for his family to be down in Tampa for 2 years. Like, his wife might have been like, this is what I needed.
Right.
You know, I
Yeah.
think, like, I tell people all the time, like, as players, you got to take care of yourself because when you retire, fans don't care about you.
Right.
And there's no disrespect to fans. I'm a fan of
No, but
sports.
it's true.
I don't care about guys that retire. If I like watching the game, I don't watch them anymore. And that's why I always say, like, people don't understand what goes into playing on a team. Like how we were talking, when I joked, I said I had 3 kids and 7 months, and Ro was like, man, that's why we didn't win. Like, you got too much going on.
Yeah.
But, like, because as a player, you have to compartmentalize so many different things. Like, I got to go play.
Right.
But then when I come home, my 3 kids, like, they don't care. Like, when I come home and we lose,
They don't care about
they be like,
all that
Daddy, did you win or lose? I'll be like, man, we lost. Like, the playoff game, I was like, we lost bad. My daughter's like, okay. She don't care. She's
My
like, all
Little
right, let
Pony.
me show you this.
Yep.
Let me, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And so that's why I think, like, so much goes into, like, where you play. What, like, it's a lot. Like, is your wife know people? Is she going to be able to be? Because if not, she miserable. Like, my brother did a year in Cleveland when they went 0-16.
Ooh.
His wife didn't know anybody.
Poor thing.
He was
I know she
losing.
was
They lost every game. He was like, bro, like, I thought I was gonna get divorced. He was like, bro, our life was like, she miserable.
Yeah.
He had a daughter. His youngest daughter had allergies. She was allergic to everything.
I got
So
allergies,
Yeah.
too.
she's struggling at home with her. He's struggling on the field. And like, you think people care about that?
It's hard.
care about
You know
It's
what I mean?
hard,
So
yeah.
Even like with the Gronk situation, before that, Bill was trying to get rid of him. So who knows if he was gonna be here
Right.
anyways? If he
then
didn't
But I think
retire.
you're so right. I think we need to start looking at people, as
Yeah.
human.
Yeah,
It's
because you
just
don't never know what
athletes,
somebody's
like we were
going
just
through.
saying with the
Exactly.
politicians, like just putting people's business out there, or just like you're a Patriots player, but you're a husband, you're a
exactly.
father, you're a son, you're a brother. You know what I mean? And it's like we want you to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, be a Patriots
guy,
fan.
yep.
But when you get home, Miss McCourty's like, you better turn that Patriots shit
Yeah,
off.
you know what I mean? It's
Right.
true though.
So yeah, we have to respect that more.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So we wanna
I will say
also she wants to know
what.
if you're gonna be here. Didn't you say that? Like if you retire,
Well, I asked. He answered my question.
So
I
you
don't know if we
retiring
can
the
say it
Patriot?
publicly,
What's
but
And my
do you want to be here?
Yeah, me and my brother talk about this all the time. Almost every player who goes to a team that he gets drafted to and has success never wants to leave.
Right.
You don't want to leave. Like, if you go somewhere and you have success, why you want to leave?
you can't
But you
leave
don't
us.
control that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I tell people
Yo,
all the
Kraft
time, like,
or Bill, one of y'all make it happen.
yeah, like to me, like every time I've been a free agent, I've been I always prepare myself to be ready to leave. Cause I always I was talking to Robin the other day, and she was like, "You can't leave here. You got to retire a Patriot." I was like, "All right, that sounds good,
That's
right?"
how I feel.
I said, "But what if the Patriots tell me this year you need to retire now, or we're not gonna bring you back?" I said, "So should I let them control if I play or
You're
not?"
gonna still play, right?
You know what I mean? That's why I always think as a player, I can't control where I retire. I have some control, but it's not fully in my control.
Did you gave money back before too? Did you?
No, I don't believe in giving money.
Okay, you never gave money
You
back.
better not. You,
You know why I don't
every
believe in
dollar.
giving money? I hate how that sounds.
You never renegotiated your contract.
I turned salary and a signing bonus.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Tom used to do that. That's not giving money back. That's getting your
Okay.
money now.
No,
instead
you-
of later.
he don't need to get money back. You give enough money to
you
the
don't need to
community.
give no money
No, but
back.
it's not
But
even
you
that.
you renegotiated one time. And you said you turned it into a signing bonus, but
Yeah,
it helped
but
the team.
I always
it helped the team though.
I try to maximize the most money I
you
can
got
get
to.
every
You got to.
And
So-
why? Because people be like, but the fan. I be like,
But I understand why Tom didn't.
The
You know what I'm saying?
the league in 2020, no fans, they made money.
Right.
Like this thing's about to be worth $20 billion a year.
Yeah.
Why would I give money back?
Yeah. So you just renegotiated,
Kraft
so it
need
helped
to
the team
adopt
out.
me. Yeah,
And you got,
almost
signed up
every
for it.
player
Okay,
does that. Yeah.
I think was that after like he traded Jamie Collins or something like that.
It was in 2016.
Yeah, when he I didn't like
that's
that
when we
movie either
traded
because I'm like
Jamie.
Jamie is a problem.
he's a freak.
Yeah,
That dude's a
he's
freak,
fast
bro.
as
But
hell.
speaking of
Yeah,
money,
yeah. Nature.
But and then it was like you renegotiated.
Yeah.
It's like because they said Bill was like anybody else got a problem.
Yeah, I know, that was like a going
And I'm
joke.
like, what?
Yeah. Nah.
speaking of money, I remember a conversation that you and I had at Foxborough, and we were talking about when guys first sign on and how easily they blow that money. And I know there's so many young people that's gonna be listening and watching, and I want you to have that conversation and talk about that.
Yeah, man, it's one of the first things I tell people. And I'm even now, like I'm 34 years old, and people always come up to me to like
I got you by 8 years.
to start donating these things. And I always be like, bro, I'm 34. Like I can't, like how can I pledge to give you money for the next X amount of years? I don't know what my next job gonna be.
Right.
You know what I mean? And young guys come in and it's like what we all think. Like we watched MTV Cribs growing up.
Yeah.
Like we all wanted the cars and stuff. And I tell young guys all the time, like pick what you like.
You had a crazy.
You like cars? Get a car. You like jewelry? Don't get everything though. You can't like cars. You can't like cars, jewelry, hanging in the club, like because then eventually,
Bottle popping.
you know what I mean? Because like none of us know. I heard somebody say this to me when I first got in the NFL. The NFL is like a window closing. How fast the window closes changes for everybody, but the window is gonna close.
Right.
And the problem is you don't know. So I know players who had great first years, second years, and then get hurt year 3, year 4 don't go how they want, play one more year, and then that's it.
Yeah.
But they never got a second contract that was big. So they wrap up 5 years in, they made $5 to $6 million. After taxes, after you pay your agent, after you pay to
$1 million.
live each year, you got about, maybe if you're lucky, you got like $1 million, maybe 1.5 left in the bank. You 26.
Yeah.
You can live. Who can live off 1.5 million? You 26.
You gotta do something else.
But you know the thing is, when you go to college and you play football, you don't go to internships. You don't internship. The summer football program going on. You
Right,
got to lift
yeah.
and work out. So when we hit the job force, hey man, where have you worked? nowhere. You have no job experience. So like you're lucky. Some guys are lucky if you make $30,000. And I'm not talking about the big names that go on TV. I'm talking about the guys that we don't talk about that actually live the average 3.5 years in the NFL. And for most of those guys, 3.5 years, you might come out with $400,000.
That's crazy.
Forget how long you're not gonna make it the end of the year.
A messed up head.
And you have nowhere to live.
Well, to be look
So
at it
what
in a
was the
positive way.
It's a great
You
starting
said-
point.
Yeah, it's a great starting point. But like you said, you have to manage.
Like there's
money.
some guys that I look at, I'm like, damn, like people did him wrong. Like he's only meant to play football. They let him pass through school, keep him on the field all through high school, college, tutors helped him, got his grades.
He better say
They didn't think about, man, what if he didn't make it? Now what's he gonna do?
What's the craziest purchase you made? You look back and was like, I mean, I shouldn't have did. To me, you seem pretty level.
I got some
you know what
jewelry.
I'm saying?
I got some jewelry, but I bought all my jewelry after I got my second contract. So like, but when I first got in the NFL, I bought my mom an Audi Q5.
Well deserved.
And I got myself a Cayenne, a Porsche Cayenne. I still got that joint.
But can you talk
so
about
like,
how
I'm the type that they
be
come
clowning?
in there. No, so like so we got a lot of free agents this year. They was like, yo, you fronting, bro. You in here, that bro? You got that old ass Porsche. Like, I know you got cars at home, and I'm like, bro, I got the 3-row Escalade with the extra trunk space.
Yeah.
Got 3 kids, bro. And I was like, and I got a free car from the dealership that I do a marketing deal with. That's it. Because to me, I'm like, I don't need
But
that.
hold on, you got Dunkin' Donuts money.
Hold on, what
You got
dealership?
some, but like for me,
What dealership is that?
my guy Dan O'Brien.
Okay,
man.
yeah. We,
Oh, yeah,
we,
yo,
we need
you
a
got
car,
the
Dan
Dan.
commercial.
O'Brien
yeah.
Auto, yeah.
Listen, my camera guy, he's lugging this stuff around. He don't got no car. He
Holla
on
at
the
my guy
bus.
Dan,
man, help
man.
us out, man. You know what
But
I'm saying?
I will say the purchases I have
Nah,
made.
he got a car.
I got my
Well, Project Turnaround, he won.
me and my brother got my mom her spot.
Dope.
Me and my wife got my in-laws their spot. Me
Dope.
and my brother helped my aunt. So like to me, it was like, yo, why you don't get like an expensive car? Because I can help somebody buy a house.
Right.
To me, that's
better,
dope.
man.
You know
That's
what
better.
I mean? Like that car,
that
I'll
car.
drive for a year or something.
Because then it gets
and then
old.
yeah,
And it's like-
exactly.
and
But
then
what's
it ain't
dope
worth
with you,
nothing.
though,
Then it
is like-
depreciates.
Exactly.
What dope with you is your partner. Your wife is your partner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, it's not someone who like y'all same mindset, same like we're
I'll be
gonna
having
spend
to get
on
her.
this.
I'll be
we're
having
gonna-
to get her on my mind.
Yeah, no, but I mean, but you don't got
That's why,
one
yo,
of those.
Put your foot down.
But
You
you
the
don't
man
got
in the
one of
house,
those
man. You
wives
know what I'm
that-
saying? Put your foot
But
down.
it's not one of those wives
Yo, hold
that.
on, hold on. You hear that? He
Yeah,
put his
right.
foot down.
Wait till she walk that door. We gonna see. Nah, but real shit though. It's like, it's not what we see a lot of like when it comes to for athletes or rappers or whatever. They got the wives that are spending just as much as them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like now the money's gone
The
faster.
bags, the Birkins. You bought a Birkin?
Nope.
About to
Nope.
say, don't
Told
do
my,
it.
Not-
I
not
told
today.
my I told my wife years ago. I said they don't make sense. Why would you spend that much money? I tell my wife
You rather
all the
put
time.
the money
But
in
is
the
that
bag
the wife
instead
that
of giving
even wants
another
a
bag.
Birkin?
Yeah, she do.
I mean,
want the
yeah,
I tell my wife all the time. I tell my wife
Anybody
all the
want
time.
one.
No,
You
I
live
be
in
like,
social media,
Duh.
she want that.
I say to
Anybody
my
want
wife
one.
all the time. I be like, yo, when are we at the point where like you got enough bag? Like I don't get the bags thing. Like
Yo,
we
you
don't
with
go
me.
out enough.
You with
for
me.
You need.
I
like,
don't get it either.
Bro,
Okay,
like,
Okay, you don't
come
go
on,
out
man.
enough, but it's just okay. You might have
I'm turned off
some
by it.
guys got sneaker fetishes.
I got sneakers, but I
Yeah.
wear all my sneakers.
Well, it's,
She got bags for special
I'm
events.
not
That
a bag
don't
lady,
get
but I
loose
can't
enough.
explain it. It's just you
Wait,
know what I'm
no,
saying.
no.
It's how
I don't
like
get
it.
it.
We're walking
I gotta step up.
billboards
I
for these
gotta,
people,
Bro.
man.
Man,
I'm-
come
yo,
on.
I get turned off by it.
I
She
tell you,
deserves it.
Hold on,
She got them 3
shout
kids
out
at
Design
home.
House, they're a good
Yeah.
brand. You know what I'm saying? I'm a walking billboard for
like
them.
that's
She got it on too.
that's dope.
So shout out to them.
I get that
They
guys in the
paid- they
locker
cut the
room.
check.
They come in with the Balenciaga, the Givenchy hoodies on. I'd be like, yo, do we know anything about them? Or we just cut a check
We
for
just
12.
cut- yeah.
We just swipe for $1,200 for a hoodie.
Yeah.
They be like, you don't got none. No, I'm not.
Nah, support black-owned businesses.
I bought a
man.
Gucci
Forget all that.
t-shirt. I bought a
What's
Gucci
that other
t-shirt.
bag? Telfair. Get your wife a Telfair. That's a black-owned.
Teflon. Teflon.
No, what?
I don't want to
That's
buy
a
my wife. I
Telfair.
don't want to buy my wife
It's-
nothing.
No. I'm saying
No,
it's
it's a black
and
owned. Yeah.
It's nice.
So
but
I'ma
all
tell her
the-
to
And he
get
gives
that.
all
back
the
to the
celebrities
community.
are,
Oh, that's
all the
dope.
celebrities are like buying it because
Yeah.
it's black owned and it's
Oh, that's
way
dope.
less
And
money.
it drops.
Yeah, it's not.
But
it's
this
way
is
less
what's
money.
dope. It
but
drops,
it sells out
and
quick.
you gotta. It's like
Sells out
it's like
quick.
Rihanna. You got
Yeah,
Rihanna.
it's a nice
She
bag
knows.
too.
That's dope.
Yeah,
I bet
she
you
probably
she
know.
know.
Yeah, so they
She
all
probably
like a
got
lot
one
of
already.
celebrities are
I'm not
supporting
in
it.
fashion. I feel like
When she
No, I'm
watches-
saying,
pockets.
don't
I'm
get the
not-
Birkin. Don't get all that stuff. Forget that. Get the Telfair, black owned.
Don't worry. When she watch this, she gonna show you. She probably got like 3 in the closet, 4, maybe 5.
What?
She probably ordered one right now.
Order what?
A Teflon bag.
No, she ordered a Birkin probably.
No, I see all purchases over a certain amount of money. I see all that.
Yo, you got to stay on it. So you got a financial advisor still?
Yeah,
The one that
I
you
tell all guys, make sure you have a financial advisor. Help, and like they can't stop you from spending money, but they can start, like we talked about, financial literacy. They could talk to you about, like, my financial advisor was like, yo, you're a first round draft pick, you know what I mean? Your first contract is worth $10 million. Let's live off $60,000 a year. Yeah. It'll allow you to invest and do different things.
Plus you're playing,
you're
so
retiring.
you're playing and you're not really like
the time guys spend the money is in the off season.
Yeah.
Because when you're playing, your facility,
But he doesn't
home,
go out.
like,
He doesn't.
in the off season is when guys spend the money.
He doesn't go out.
Well,
He
now I
doesn't
got them
do
kids.
it.
Vacations is what kill you.
Yeah.
So what are some of the places
Disney?
that
You went to
y'all go to?
Disney?
We're going to Disney this
Oh
year.
man,
Word.
Disney is expensive. They're gonna hit
I'd be
you.
mad at my wife
Yeah,
because
but
I
hold
don't be
on,
wanting to go to
doesn't,
Disney
and then
until
you gotta
all the
do
kids are
everything.
able to fully function and
Understand.
understand
Yeah.
that
True.
we at Disney.
Yeah, I went to Disney this past summer for the first time. I took my two youngest, the 8-year-old and the 2-year-old. So,
Yeah.
but my
Yeah.
2-year-old,
Like my 4-year-old and 3-year-old, they're gonna have a
Have
great
you took
time.
him to Sesame Place?
I
They
haven't.
would love that.
I haven't.
They would
we've
Yeah, I was
done
supposed to go
some
to
of the
Sesame
stuff.
Street with her, right?
Yeah,
So we
Disney.
all were
I
supposed to
took
go,
a
all the
bunch of
family,
kids.
right?
It's
So
all
we
right.
went to Disney. We in the Sesame Street thing or whatever picture. She's like, "Oh, this nigga went to Sesame Street." And she's in the group chat. I'm just letting her go crazy. She's like, "Oh, that's how you did us, y'all went."
And mind you, I already went.
I'm like, bro,
'Cause I wanted to
that
go with
was-
Kim.
I'm like, bro, that was Disney. She's
But I
like,
wanted to go with Cameron.
Oh, okay.
No,
Yeah,
his
like,
8-year-old, that's my buddy. That's
Yeah.
my friend. Like, I wanted to go with him. So
Good
when
times.
and mind you, I've been telling him, like, yo, let's
You
go.
should
Let's
just
take
go.
him.
And you thought
So
he
when
would-
I'm like, I know you didn't go without me. Like,
she's in the group
what?
chat going
I
crazy.
was going
yeah.
crazy, like,
and
you
then
bum.
and then my other man E, he's like, "Oh, that's messed up." I'm like,
Yep.
"Come on, he feed it." I said, "You
Don't
gonna
do
feed
that.
into
You like,
this?"
don't do that.
I'm
Don't
like,
do
"You gonna
that.
feed
No,
into this?"
because
I
me
really
and
didn't
Cam
go.
been talking about it, like, and I really wanted to go
That's
with
dope,
him.
though.
Like, that's my
That's
guy.
dope.
That's my buddy. Like, that's my baby.
But shout out to you, man. We appreciate coming and doing this for us. You know what I'm saying?
Anytime,
And
man.
I want to commend you for all the work you're doing. You're doing so much stuff. It's like I don't even know.
We
if
could go on
cover
and
it-
on and on.
Cover all of that. You
Nah,
know
we
what I'm
did a
saying? But
lot
I
of
want
that, man.
You
We
know
might
what I'm
have to
saying?
come back with Jason's.
Yeah. I don't know you. I just met you, but when she told me about you, I'm like, man. And then I seen all the stuff you do. I'm like, man, I like this guy. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Plus,
how I
you
feel. That, man.
plus you a patriot. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? You
And that's
you
how
got
I
us some
felt.
championships, man. I downplayed your intro, but tell them how many championships you got.
I got 3 Super
Okay,
Bowl rings.
that's right. 3 rings. Where the
Hold
ring
on,
at? You
hold
got
on,
the
we
ring?
some.
I don't. Them joints too big. I don't ever wear them.
Yeah,
never
they
wear
like this big.
I wear them at like charity events and stuff. Try to get people to donate that money.
Oh, okay.
Come
Okay.
wear
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
Come wear this.
Come wear
Donate
this.
that
Come wear
money.
this. Come wear this ring.
So I found that way we could.
Oh yeah, bring it to the hood. Let's
Look,
no,
get some
we
money.
gotta bring it to the suburbs, man. That's how
Yeah,
we get
'cause
the
look,
money.
they gonna rob
We get the
us.
money for the
Yeah.
hood. No, they ain't robbing us.
With that ring,
Shit, you know everybody in the hood anyways. Man.
they still
Good.
gonna rob us.
I stay in my little
My
area.
brother
I know a
might
lot of
rob us.
people in the hood, right? I know from different areas, but this is like the hood advocate. Like I stay in my little area, but she knows.
Stay in your
everybody.
lane,
Yeah, I
she-
stay in my- But
I
you know,
travel in a good way, and
she knows
I just love
everybody.
the community.
All you ex gangbangers, she know you. You know what I'm
I
saying?
definitely do.
Yeah,
In a
she
good
do.
way. In a good way. Let's say that.
Shout out to them.
I
though.
definitely help them in so many ways, and it's an advocate. Just my life, just using my life, and so.
So Devin, one last thing, right? You've been on here. You got to get us somebody to come on next.
What y'all looking
Craft. No, sir. I just said.
My buddy, yeah.
Yo,
Duh.
no,
I'm gonna have to talk
nah,
to
I'm just
Robin.
saying.
Which one? Which one of y'all I gotta
Robin
go?
got
I
the
was just
bigger.
playing. That was
Nah.
a little setup.
Don't
but
say
yeah.
nothing when I get him.
Yo,
I gotta
yo,
look.
Robin the bigger.
Oh, yeah.
Robin, I
big
got
dog.
you.
Robin the
Robin
big
can get
dog.
Kraft?
Yep.
Oh, we
About
got
to
to sit
call
down
her.
with Kraft,
I
man.
gotta
But
call my girl.
we thank you,
Me
man.
and Robin can tag team.
But I will say this: the outro, definitely, I have to salute you. I will say this: so many young people, like they look up to Nipsey Hussle, or you have different people. For me, I will say this: like, humbly, you are my Nipsey Hussle. You know what I mean? That's how I feel
Nah,
about
you
you.
going too far.
Nah,
on that.
definitely.
Nah. You do a lot
Real
of work.
shit. The stuff that you do is like you're humble, and I respect that a lot. But that's why someone like me have to put it out there, because someone like you won't, and you're one of those people that's like pay it forward. You're like me, so I definitely thank you. The work that you putting in, not just for like my organization, but my community as a whole, like. even certain people, like you took it and ran with it. There's people that I'm learning about through you, and you know what I mean? You're helping them, you're moving forward. It's bigger than just them. You're helping a family. You're bringing people's fathers and, you know what I mean, sons home. You know, that probably never would have seen the light of day again. You know, that's big. And you're stepping, and you're not just talking about it. You're in mass DOC state prisons, visiting folks, sitting there, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Giving
we're
a voice
sitting
for the
here.
voiceless.
We didn't have that. We've never had that. You know, you know my story. Like, I've never in my life seen one of y'all in ever. You know, and the whole Flores situation. You taking a stand for that, and Kaepernick, you took a stand for that. All the charity work that you're doing, there's so many, like, numerous. You're not 1, 2, 3. You're on 6, 8, and still climbing.
You working
and,
like you from the islands. You know how they work hard, man. You working.
And this
man,
is
you got
money that
multiple
you're
jobs.
putting in. And like you said, like, someone like you, collect your money because you give back to our community. So that money comes back this way instead of somebody else that probably don't need it. So I respect that. The Pats immediately saw your leadership, you know, and you're the Patriots captain since 2011, which was your second year in the NFL. And that says a lot.
It's a long time.
And I think that they saw the leadership that I think I see and many other people are seeing now. Like, so they got an eye for that. So that was good. Just to give the community and the people a kind of little highlight,
Rundown.
just in case you didn't think, right. So you helped get the Student Opportunity Act passed in Massachusetts. The bill will put $1.5 billion into public education school system. We want to see that in Boston public schools. I can't stress that enough. My babies need it. You, Jason, your brother, were nominated for the 2020 Muhammad Ali Sports Humanitarian Award, which is given to a professional athlete who makes a positive impact in his or her community. Shit, if you leave it to me, it's Nobel Peace Prize, but
You get nominated for the
listen.
Walter Payton Award too.
Yeah, 4 times. I told Kraft this year, I was like, bro, don't nominate me.
You didn't
again.
win it yet.
Nah,
Come
man,
on,
I
man. They
ain't-
got to give it
Come
to
on,
you.
It's a
you
popularity
definitely-
contest.
Nah, we're gonna have to call Bobby, but we have to be in front of his house like they do the politicians. But you have like just so much, just calling out, you know, Trump, when so many people were going against players for calling out the injustice and you know, Trump's behavior and things like that. You, Jonathan, and Mr. Kraft in February, what was that, 2018? Fought for criminal justice reform with Charlie Baker, signed a bill in April raising the age at which children can be charged in juvenile court from the age 7 to 12. That's one of the laws that you had called for, change and made happen. Thank you. So this past Monday, you showed support for the commutation of William Allen that you spoke about, a Brockton man who was sentenced to life in prison without parole in 1997 on a first-degree murder charge. And we got to saw that, and that was dope. Like, the way that you spoke about that man, and, you know, I felt like y'all knew each other forever. So
It was crazy testifying there.
Yeah.
Like, I get nervous with stuff like that, but
yeah.
it was.
But
it
it's
was dope.
needed.
Yeah, it
it's
was
needed, and I appreciate you.
And I want to thank you for connecting with the community and connecting with Ro. You know what I'm saying? Because this is a real one. So,
Thank
you know what I'm
you.
saying? I want to thank you for that, because sometimes people, we connect with people that might not be involved in the community like that, or not care like that. You know what I'm saying? But she's the one that cares. So I want to thank you for that.
It's so
And
much,
that means a
yeah.
lot to us.
No, I appreciate you guys, and I think it's so important. Like, you know, I know different people who are CEOs of organizations and do things, and I know people who are on the ground from communities, and you know, like she spoke about Jeff. Like, I talk to Jeff all the time, and George Diaz, who's another officer. Like, I talk to those two guys. Like, I've gone out with them. You know,
George is at BC now.
Yeah, I know. Getting to
Yeah.
know,
BC. No, so I'm just playing.
getting
Y'all
to-
not gonna be doing my school.
I'm just saying. Fuck
Shout out to
BC.
BC because
No,
they
I'm
gave
just
me
playing.
a chance
Let's go.
from where I was at and like to getting
Mhm.
accepted.
Nah, BC didn't
is
offer
big.
my guy a scholarship.
I'm
so
over it now.
Oh, you
I
over it?
spoke
Alright.
to the team.
Alright, we forgive you,
Me and
BC.
BC, my New
Y'all
England
ain't-
Patriots
Y'all
and
ain't
Boston
been shit
roots.
since Matt
Yeah.
Ryan left.
Yeah,
Nah,
my roots pulled me
I'm
in
straight
too.
BC. Listen, I wasn't
Yeah.
even gonna go there for someone like me, a kid like
That's
me
dope.
from Dorchester to even get accepted.
People
I
will
posted
follow
it.
that.
I posted it. You know how many people like, how the hell? Like, that, I don't even
Hey,
know, but
listen,
I'm going.
Harvard, fuck BC. No.
That's next, man. That's next. I got into BC. BC's
Yo,
Yale to us.
When's the last time BC been good?
It don't matter.
Matt
They
Ryan was
Yale to
there.
us.
Come on, man. And
BC's
shout out to
Yale
Matt
to us.
Ryan. Thank you for that 28-3 comeback.
You want me to answer
What
your
was it?
question?
Yeah,
When's the
shout out
last
to
time?
Matt Ryan. Good luck,
I
baby.
can tell you the last time BC was great this semester when they accepted me.
That's all that
Okay,
matters.
okay, yeah.
Come
Okay, I forgive you, BC. Y'all got Ro in there.
Thank
you know what
you.
I'm saying? Till then, and if y'all do her wrong, it's
Nah,
fuck
nah.
y'all again.
I feel like they're gonna take me to a whole different level.
Yeah.
No bullshit.
But
I
yeah,
really do.
shout out to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Design House.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Ghetto
shout out
Report.
Design House. Hook me up with a hoodie. I'm gonna be rocking that. You probably see me on the TV doing that. I always like to rock people's stuff that's
My
from the
God.
community.
Yes.
On like press conferences on TV and stuff. I think that's key.
Support
like,
your people.
You know what I mean? Letting other people see it.
Shout out to Shot by Dawn, Ari Films, Ro, Lean. We out of here.
Devin McCourty. Thank you.
Definitely. Appreciate y'all.
I'm caught up in this fast life.